workshops. Call 866-971-8970 or go to 5wayswemakemoney.com and register for the next available workshop. That's 866-971-8970 or go to 5wayswemakemoney.com.
Common Sense Radio with Allman in the morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Give me land, lots of land, and the starry skies above. Don't fence me in. Let me ride through the wide open country that I love. Don't fence me in. Let me be by myself in the evening breeze. Listen to the murmur of the cottonwood trees. Send me off forever, but I ask you please. Don't fence me in. Don't fence me in. Just turn me loose. Let me straddle my old saddle underneath the western skies. On my cayuse, let me wander over yonder till I see the mountains rise. I want to ride through the ridge where the west commences. Gaze at the moon until I lose my senses. I can't look at hovels and I can't stand fences. Don't fence me in. 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 Don't fence me in.
Stop the hammering. Stop the hammering. I had this queued up because this is an 8-minute long version of the Stop the Hammering. But this is one that somebody mashed up because yesterday we left
The
you
hammering.
We left you yesterday with the making fun of Lawrence O'Donnell, who decided he was going to do an entire missive on how sick in his head Donald Trump is. He had a psychiatrist on the air and everything else. I hope you guys caught up and went ahead and Googled Stop the Hammering because...
Stop the hammering. Stop the hammering out there. Stop the hammering out there.
This is him going crazy on his set to Stop the Hammering episode. And I would just like to have, maybe some psychiatrist on the air with him to kind of break all that down. It's a crazy world we live in where everybody is thinking that black is white and the sky is down and not up. We had this rally yesterday where we had Nadler and the rest of the crew. By the way, this is a guy who gets out there, who goes to a rally and just reads verbatim, reads from a prepared statement. This Nadler guy, this Gerald Nadler, who you guys have seen on TV, he's this big fat Democrat Trump hater, and he's constantly on TV. He kind of popped out of nowhere. I thought Adam Schiff was the lead guy in here, but he kind of popped out of nowhere and is now kind of the lead person in the anti-Trump Mueller, that kind of thing. He's kind of like the crusader. So they had this rally outside the White House yesterday, and by the way, let me just ask you this. That you had all these signs around, and the signs all said, release the report. And I'm just trying to ask you, like, for instance, it looked like it was typed out on placards and things like that, and it was hashtag release the report. I'm just trying to figure out, like, who rallies for release the report? Who does that? Like, I could see, like, the women wearing the pink hats, and I could see, like, racism rallies or, I don't know, rallies for candidates or whatever else. But who has released the report rallies? And so what they did was they set up this stage there and set up a microphone and had these big pre-made signs that said release the report. And then they didn't really show the crowd in the video that I saw, so I don't even know how many people were out there. But this Nadler character is acting like he's just kind of sleepwalking through it. He's reading from a script. I've never seen anything like that at a rally. Where if you can see, it just is not natural. Here, I'll play it for you. This is Naylor at the rally yesterday, outside the White House. Hold on a second here. I'm getting it. There we go.
Thank you all. Thank all of you for standing up and speaking out about the need for Congress to get Special Counsel Mueller's full report.
Keep in mind, he's reading this whole thing. I am so thankful for you to come out here and talk about the report. Thank you very much for being here. And he's reading from and the podium's too high and he's too tiny, and it's just unbelievable.
And for the need for there to be transparency with the American people. People like you are speaking out all over the country.
People like you, as he's staring into his paper. People like you. He's staring right down the. It's fun to watch. I don't know how many people are here. I can't tell.
Over 300 events nationwide, because you know that we are in a battle over the rules that govern our democracy and over the rules that guarantee that we will remain a democracy. We cannot allow a
There aren't many people there. Can you tell? I can't. I mean, I'm hearing like a couple of woo, but there aren't many people there.
To carry out sustained attacks on the integrity of our republic and on the integrity of our democracy.
You realize this is all. Oh, here, maybe there were more.
We cannot allow a president.
It seems like there were some, but here's the deal. You realize this is all, in my opinion, one of these just kabuki theater shows. These people act as if. This seems like a setup to me. I can't imagine that many people concerned. I woke up this morning to something on the front of my computer that said something about Cohen papers being released and Trump Tower stuff. And I'm just trying to think who really, like in any kind of normal sphere of their lives, continues to be obsessed with this. Now, I guess it's kind of like the way the Democrats felt when Republicans were investigating Benghazi. But keep in mind, Benghazi involved the death of a U.S. ambassador and 3 others. And it also involved a known lie. I mean, we knew that they were lying about the YouTube video and everything like that. So there were things that were pretty apparent there. Things that were pretty right in front of us. And certainly were investigation worthy. But nonetheless, this thing is different. We have a report. They wanted Mueller to do it. They spent their whole time defending Mueller. They spent month after month, 2 years, talking about how amazing Mueller was and how incredibly terrible President Trump is for daring to doubt Robert Mueller. Remember when they said, when the president criticized Mueller or said something snarky about him, it was as if President Trump was a traitor. He was questioning these people who spent their whole lives honorably serving America. Robert Mueller is a national hero. He's a man of integrity and impeccable integrity. Hillary Clinton was conducting speeches, and I can't believe that she's still running her mouth after what she got away with. But Hillary Clinton would do speeches and say, how dare you question our institutions? Remember all that? I know most Americans do. You raise that shade again. Keep forgetting to do that in the morning. I don't like this shade being. You know, one thing I don't like is closed shades.
We don't like closed shades here, people. We're opening some shades.
I don't like closed shades.
Aesthetics.
Yeah, I mean, it's just.
The show is getting pretty shady, I have to say.
Oh, but I need that.
I don't like this. This isn't bad behind me, but I don't know. I just.
It looks wonderful, man.
Now it looks better.
You look beautiful.
There. I just like to have a little bit of. When the light starts coming in, I close the shades because you can see through them. But now you can't see through them. There we go.
There we go.
There we go. Brightens things up a little bit. It's all about aesthetics. You know what I'm talking about? So people who were watching television saw all this. They saw the praise of Robert Mueller. They saw how amazing people made Robert Mueller out to be and what of impeccable credentials and honor that Robert Mueller had. And to tell you the truth, I didn't agree with them. I still don't agree that those people within the... You can go ahead and turn that mic off, buddy. The people who question the integrity of the whole staff, which is now apparently leaking stuff. Now apparently the Mueller team, if you believe the New York Times, is starting to leak things. But nonetheless, their views. But so all this happens, we get the Mueller report, and suddenly Mueller is a crook, and Barr's a liar, and they want to see the entire report and everything else. And again, as I explained yesterday, it's not going to matter what people find. The issue of the Barr was always collusion. It was always a legal definition, although collusion necessarily isn't a legally defined crime, but conspiracy or obstruction and that kind of thing. But those were all legal terms. Robert Mueller has erased all doubt that there was some kind of crime committed. And so all the other stuff that might be in the report is just stuff they want to feed on and add salt to or hot sauce to and turn it into something delicious. And it's just ridiculous. And these people standing outside of the White House with this boring release the report thing. Hashtag release the report. They think this like this is a trend of some sort. There he is again.
It is built into our system of governance. Our system of checks and balances demands that Congress get the full Mueller report and all the underlying evidence.
Now, by the way, let me ask you something with a crime, for instance, that takes place in, whether it be a murder or whether it be any other crime that's committed where there is an investigation, a grand jury investigation or any other investigation. Don't they normally keep all of the notes of the detectives, excuse me, notes of the detectives and all those kinds of things? Those are never really part of some things might be presented as evidence, but those are never really part of the outcome of an acquittal, let's say, of somebody. Like very rarely when somebody is acquitted of a crime or cleared of a crime, do American citizens, are they allowed to go back and just kind of, well, let me see those notes. Let me see those detective notes. Let me see those. It's like, no, we've determined that their crime has not been committed, and we're not going to just have you then conduct your separate investigation. And so on that basis alone, I actually don't think the report ought to be released. Only because it is fraught with pieces in it that will only be exploited by the Democrats for political purposes. I think that's enough to say we're not going to release the report. I in fact think Barr ought to go ahead and make the decision that he's not going to release the report. What else are they going to do? What I mean, other than the president saying, I want to release the report, what are they going to do if the report isn't released? Boy, what's up with Jerry Nadler? Is that a real picture of him, or did somebody Photoshop that? Oh, it is? Oh, that's Jerry. Yeah. I mean, sometimes, that really is him? He really looks like that? Because, I mean, does he look like that now, or?
Apparently, he had a big weight loss going on.
Well, good for him.
That's early. That's before.
Always happy for people who can lose weight, who take good care of themselves and everything else. It's another person we don't have to take care of. That's good. Well, good for him. He pitched in. Jerry Nadler pitched in to clean up America. You got to pitch in to clean up America. That's another commercial, by the way, I remember as a savant, you know. That was the big littering campaign. Remember that? Remember the simple days when we were just asked not to litter? Remember those days? Oh, yeah. They're still around. They still have that little person picking up the trash and picking, that little stick person. Those are simple days. You know, when Indians were crying on the side of a river because you littered. Shame on you. But those were days when that was the worst that we had to endure, is people littering. That was our biggest problem. Can you believe that? I don't think it was ever really our biggest problem, but you know what I'm talking about. Oh, to go back to those days. And you don't think I'm going to grab that commercial on the other side of this break? I darn well will. You know I will. But anyway, congratulations to Jerry Nadler for losing his 7th chin. That's good for. I'm serious. I never want to make fun of people who, everybody has their own things going on. I just thought maybe that was a fake picture of it, but it wasn't. So anyway, I actually have changed my mind. I really didn't have an opinion one way or the other necessarily on this report. But I've changed my mind. I think we ought to drive these people crazy and not release the report. I think they ought to just say, Barr should just say, you know what, pound sand, find something else, bye. And what are they going to do? What are they going to do? I mean, it might cast some suspicion on what's going on. I get that. But I think it's well worth the fun of watching the left go absolutely just crazy. Well, happy Friday. George Papadopoulos is going to be joining us a little after 9 o'clock. It's definitely must-tune-in radio if you can find a radio once you get to work or do whatever. George Papadopoulos is going to be on with us at 9:35 or so, and Doug Giles is going to be joining us at 8:30. And your phone calls are welcome. You can call the Tammy.com real estate listener line at 844-855-1380. And since it's Friday, and since we are live from the Arrowhead Building Supply Studios, I believe it is a Leanne Rimes day for our national anthem because she does it so well. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars
More Allman in the Morning coming up on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer. Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
An accident causing some pretty big problems right now. 70 eastbound is jammed up from O'Fallon Park to Grand Avenue, where 2 left lanes remain blocked. We can see it from the jam cam at Grand. And we've also got flooding issues still. Sections of the Great River Road are closed at Grafton, and southbound 67 closed from the Mississippi River to the Missouri River with flooding. Southbound traffic is sharing the northbound lanes. Midday roadwork today, 9 to 4:30 on westbound 64 on the Poplar Street Bridge. Traffic is sponsored by H&R Block. April 15th is right around the corner, and admit it, taxes are complicated this year. Lucky for you, H&R Block has the expertise you need. No one knows tax reform better than Block, and their tax pros will get you every credit, deduction, and dollar you deserve. Make an appointment or walk in today. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
Hi, this is Jess with Razorback Armory, and spring cleaning time is here. It's time to go over your revolvers, pistols, rifles, and shotguns, knock off the dust, dirt, and grime, and get them cleaned up and ready to go. We carry a full line of cleaning products and accessories to get your firearms back into tip-top shape. Don't have time to do it yourself? No problem. We offer a wide variety of cleaning, preservation, and restoration services to fit your needs. Stop by and see the pros at Razorback Armory, located just east of 270 on Manchester Road in De Pere, and online at razorbackarmory.com.
Health insurance premiums making you sick? Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. I have the answer. Dryden Camus Insurance Agency serving Missouri and Illinois. This is non-Obamacare, and you can enroll anytime. You don't have to wait for open enrollment. Why should you have to pay for maternity coverage and pediatric dental care if you don't need it? KDDI-INS.com. KDDI-INS.com or call Joyce at 877-695-0245. 877-695-0245. This is the answer. This is the solution. KDDI-INS.com.
Ask yourself, if you built a van for your business, where would you start? At the beginning, of course, with the people who invented the work van over 100 years ago, Mercedes-Benz. You'd give your new Mercedes-Benz Sprinter advanced technology and safety to keep you connected and protected. You'd make it available in diesel and gas, and there would be thousands of configurations and upfits to choose from. Because your one-of-a-kind business deserves nothing less than a van that's built for you. Introducing the all-new Mercedes-Benz Sprinter, the safest, most innovative Sprinter yet, starting at just $33,790. Built for you, the all-new Sprinter. Mercedes-Benz, vans, born to run.
MSRP excludes all options, taxes, title, registration, transportation charge, and dealer prep fee. Options, model availability, and actual dealer price may vary. See dealer for details about costs and terms. Equipment described as optional.
Communication is the key to building any business. 1380 AM and 105.3 FM, The Answer, can be your communication key. The microphone that voices your business message from the stage of your own radio show, defining you as the expert in your line of work. The stage that brings your brand to a solid awareness, place, and position in the vast community of customers listening here in St. Louis. The broadcast professionals here will help your show develop, building you, your company, and your customer base with and through an affordable on-air and online media distribution. Get to theanswerstl.com. Click Contact Us. TheAnswerSTL.com. Contact us. Do so and then look for a call from sales manager Lori Vernier. Then build your business with your very own radio show on 1380 AM and 105.3 FM. The Answer.
Listen to Allman in the Morning with Alexa. Wake up and say, Alexa, play The Answer St. Louis. Now, back to Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
Life is like a merry-go-round, painted horses riding up and down.
I guess eventually I'm going to have to talk about this Pete Buttigieg guy, the South Bend, Indiana mayor who's running for president now. I don't get this. I know he's a gay guy and he's articulate, they say. I don't know why they always have to say that. I mean, but I don't understand the attraction to this individual who, some of whom are praying for these massive tax increases. He's trolling Mike Pence and doing. I don't get it. But again, I remember people counted out Donald Trump. So in this day and age, anything can happen. But he stepped in again, as these guys do, whether it be Beto or whether it be Joe Biden or whatever. He dared to say all lives matter. And so now he's apologizing. Plus, one of the girls who got into college thanks to a big fat check from their parents is speaking out from the past. We'll have that for you as well. It's Common Sense Radio.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. A California border town will be getting a visit today from President Trump. He will visit Calexico, California, inspecting fencing along the border with Mexico. An apology from Boeing CEO Dennis Muhlenberg, apologizing for 2 deadly crashes involving 737 MAX 8 jetliners. An automatic anti-stall system implicated in both accidents. Muhlenberg says it's our responsibility to eliminate the risk. He says we own it and we know how to do it. The aunt of an Illinois boy who disappeared in 2011 says it's like reliving that day all over again. Relatives of Timothy Pitson say they're devastated to learn that a 23-year-old man claiming to have been the kidnapped child was not actually him, but was really an ex-convict from Ohio. More details at srnnews.com.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Earlier crash eastbound 44 at Memorial's been cleared, so they have reopened the roadway. You are stop and go, though, back from the Poplar. Also looking at the westbound side, running a little bit heavy between 10th and Memorial. That was closed, too, for a little bit. Eastbound on 64 before 270, crash blocking a couple of right lanes. We've got stop and go westbound 64 between Boyle and McCausland. You have heavy traffic on East 70 from Jennings Station to Salisbury. Also looking a little bit slow on 55 south from M to McNutt. 64 eastbound, slight delays Maryville Center to 270. Traffic sponsored by H&R Block.
Tax day is coming, and this year more than ever, you're probably wanting some help. Head over to H&R Block. No one knows tax reform better than Block, and their tax pros will get you every credit, deduction, and dollar you deserve. Make an appointment, walk in, or drop off your docs at a Block office near you.
I'm Deb Snyder with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
1380, The Answer. Weather.
Mostly cloudy today, high 66. Partly cloudy as we head into the evening, low tonight 52. Rather cloudy and a little bit warmer for Saturday, high 73. Cloudy and mild Saturday night with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm around low 60. Sunday, a thick cloud cover and warm with a shower or thunderstorm, high 74. I'm Madison Baggett with your St. Louis Metro forecast on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Joe Walsh thinks it's a good idea to close the border.
They're overwhelmed at the border. All of these people trying to come into this country seeking asylum. President Trump came out this morning and tweeted that if we don't get things under control on the border, he's going to shut down the border. He's going to close our border. He's going to shut it down. To which I say, shut it down.
The Joe Walsh Radio Program. Weeknights at 8 on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer. Breaking news. Stability Talk.
Allman here for my good friends at Arrowhead Building Supply, the Pogues, longtime supporters of Allman in the Morning, and I love what they are doing for you. They are the premier supplier of exterior building products in the area for more than 20 years. They have this really cool thing called the Cube, which is a home visualizer. You put a picture of your home in there, and you can see what the siding and the roofing all looks like in real time. The best-known siding brands, CertainTeed, Provia. It's arrowheadbuildingsupply.com.
Critics are raving about the best of enemies. Taraji P. Henson and Sam Rockwell give magnificent performances.
You don't get my way. Well, I'm gonna get in your way.
The Christian Post calls it a perfect portrayal of how love can break through all barriers.
Same God made you, made me.
That serves as a masterful representation of healing and hope.
Don't you forget it.
The Best of Enemies, based on the untold true story. Rated PG-13. May be inappropriate for children under 13. Now playing in theaters.
America First with Sebastian Gorka. Tonight at 11. Now, more Common Sense Radio with Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
You know, here at the studios here, I have CNN on one of the channels, and seriously, it must be really hard for people to obsess over President Trump the way they do. It must be difficult for them to be able to kind of keep up with all of this. I mean, you just wake up in the morning and you decide what way you're going to attack the president. I just find that to be so, I mean, I would think it'd be a hard way to live. I mean, even when Obama was president for 8 years, I mean, maybe there were a few people out there, we saw them on Facebook and that kind of thing, who were obsessive about Obama. And I realize there are issues you want to fight for. I get all that. I mean, I understand that. But for the news media to be in a perpetual state of crusade is really weird to me. It's a strange world we live in. This morning, for instance, with the Trump decision to wait a year before he closes the border, keep in mind, he was roundly attacked for even suggesting that the border be closed. He was roundly criticized for that. He was the meanest guy on the planet for that. And now that he has given it a year, now the CNN is calling it a retreat. Like they're mocking him for retreating on it. They acted like it was going to be the end of the world when he wanted to close the border, and then when he said, "I'll wait a year," they said, "Ah, you coward!" It's like, wow, really? I would think you'd have been happy that he was not closing the border. Instead, they go on and they act and they mock him like he's some kind of coward. That's a weird way to live, where you just kind of like fit whatever screw you want into whatever area you need, and just say that it's a masterpiece. I don't get it. And then watching the left then eat its own, like they build these people up and then they tear them down, which I find very interesting. Usually only Republicans do that to each other, but the Democrats really did this. Interestingly enough, they with this Pete Buttigieg guy, I'm hoping he doesn't get any further because then I have to pronounce his name correctly. I know people have tried. I know you've heard him do it, and I think they tried at one point. They tried just to call him Mayor Pete, so they didn't have to use his last name. It's like Ocasio-Cortez. People are so lazy, they decided to call her AOC because they don't want to say her full name. Literally, it's just a laziness thing. But anyway, I'll call him Mayor Pete since I don't want to be disrespectful and just butcher his name in that fashion. If you all know how to pronounce it, you can call me and I'll take your word for it at the calltammy.com real estate listener line at 844-855-1380. Teach me how to pronounce Buttigieg. So here he is. You know, he talked about all lives matter. He had to apologize for it. But here, if you haven't heard him speaking, he went and spoke to the National Action Network convention, and he talked about Black Lives Matter and All Lives Matter, but apparently now he's embroiled in some controversy for all of this. Here he is talking about it. Here's
in 2015, you said that all lives matter when you spoke about two police controversies that were happening in South Bend. Was that a mistake? And can you also clarify your position on the Black Lives Matter movement?
Sure. So keep in mind, this is the level of journalism we have right now, where reporters are now trolling people on things they said 2 years ago and asking them to account, especially on the Black Lives Matter thing. Now, keep in mind, this Pete Buttigieg guy, and I from what I've heard about him policy-wise, I'm not a big fan. But he's mayor of South Bend, Indiana. South Bend is predominantly Republican, and fairly conservative. I'm surprised he was able to get elected there, but he did. And it's Indiana, so even some of the more liberal people are kind of conservative. So Democrats in Indiana tend to be more conservative than others, Democrats around the country. So when he said all lives matter at that time during the police shooting, clearly it was a reflection of his constituency. It was a reflection of what people are talking about there. And they didn't buy into this idea somehow that blacks were just being preyed upon willy-nilly by police officers, which actually factually is not true. And so saying all lives matter is a reflection of that point of view. I happen to think I don't really have an issue with people saying Black Lives Matter. I mean, I believe all lives matter, and I'm sure the blacks who are part of the Black Lives Matter movement believe Black Lives Matter. So what? Big whoop. So anyway, he made the mistake, though, of having said all lives matter like 2 years ago. So he made sure that when he was in front of Al Sharpton's National Extortion Network, that he was going to say Black Lives Matter. Well, okay, so he says Black Lives Matter in the speech. Suddenly a reporter catches up with him after the event, and this is what he says. Hey,
you said that all lives matter when you spoke about two police controversies that were happening in South Bend. Was that a mistake? And can you also clarify your position on the Black Lives Matter movement?
Sure. So at that time, I was talking about a lot of issues around racial reconciliation in our community. What I did not understand at that time was that phrase just early into mid.
Yeah. So he's another woke white dude, right? I didn't understand at the time. I'm now woke. I'm now different. It's like Beto. He's trying to out candy, you know what, Beto O'Rourke. And so I love all these guys, these middle-aged white dudes running as liberals, how they're all having to talk about how it's like they're recovering alcoholics, you know? They're recovering white men is what they are.
Especially 2015 was coming to be viewed as a sort of counter slogan to Black Lives Matter. And so this statement that seems very anodyne and something that's kind of nobody could be against actually wound up being used to devalue what the Black Lives Matter movement was telling us, which is...
And that might be true. There were some people who were devaluing it, the Black Lives Matter movement. But there were blacks who were devaluing the Black Lives Matter movement because they didn't trust it, because they didn't think that these people were really honest and sincere when they said Black Lives Matter. And I still, to this day, believe that the whole movement itself is totally insincere. Because if Black lives really mattered, they would be promoting economic policies, and they would be promoting people who promote economic policies positive for the inner city community, but they don't do that. In fact, I don't really know what they do. Instead of just chant that, carry signs with that whenever there's a left-wing Antifa lunatic protest, or when there's an outcome of a jury they don't like, which seems to be kind of a thing with the left. They don't like final decisions about things. They don't seem to, whether it be a jury or an election or a Mueller report, they don't seem to like the outcome of legitimate processes. It's really interesting. In other words, I think it's emblematic of their desire to live in a totalitarian state. They don't want processes to go through. They don't really want, like, a grand jury. A grand jury can be thrown together, but if the grand jury doesn't have the result they want, they hit the streets and start fires. If the election doesn't turn out the way they want to, they whine about it for 2.5 years. Or if the Mueller report doesn't turn out to be the way they want, then they hit the streets again. And it's really nothing different than a 2-year-old hitting the ground when they're told they can't do something and just writhing around, pounding on the floor. It's really interesting to watch that. Anyway, this is him trying to explain how he's a learned, woke white man.
What we needed to hear, because unfortunately, it was not obvious to everybody that Black lives were being valued the same. And so that is the contribution of Black Lives Matter, and it's a reason why, since learning about how that phrase was being used to push back on that activism, I've stopped using it in that context.
What about the demotion of the police chief, Mayor?
Yeah. So anyway, this is just, I don't even know who this dude is, sorry. I mean, I realize that he's a thing, and I get it. And again, like, I don't want to ever demote somebody, because I remember that President Trump was written off and as a non-serious candidate. So I wouldn't want to say that, but this is one case where I really don't think that that's going to be happening. I really don't see his, well, maybe. Gosh, you'd never know. I remember back in 1991 or so, there must have been a slate of, man, it was maybe 15 Democrat candidates. And I looked at that slate back in that day, and I never in a million years would have thought Bill Clinton was going to be the guy. Did you? No, I mean, we didn't know. I think Gary Hart might have been in there somewhere. But we didn't know. It was Dukakis and Tsongas and all these people, but I never in a million years thought that Bill Clinton would be the guy.
I think it was a saxophone on Arsenio.
Yeah.
The turning point for me.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah. Can I read something off a Facebook comment?
Yeah.
It's really good. Paul Stewart just said, regarding what you said about this old comment, so if you always apologize for what you said in the past, how can anyone trust what you say in the future?
Yeah, I mean, there'll be a day when he's got to go and explain what he just said there. Yeah, remember that time you were asking me? Yeah, but I can't keep it straight. The problem is, it's always hard to keep things straight when you're not really real. You're always kind of bouncing around and pivoting and trying to figure out this and that. When you really don't have a core, when you really don't have a view, you have to constantly kind of change and pivot and apologize and do this and do that. You're seeing a lot of that, especially with these guys like Beto and Pete, Mayor Pete, and these guys. They all have to kind of reinvent themselves and adjust themselves to the crowd, and it doesn't work. And little does he know, and this is the problem with Pete, Mayor Pete, and the rest of the guys. Little do they know that more Democrats agree with him on the All Lives Matter thing than he even can imagine. I mean, I know there are the people who still, keep the Black Lives Matter placards out in front of their homes. I get it. Over there in U City, in Kirkwood, yeah. The little white family with the Black Lives Matter sign in the yard. You know what I'm talking about. There are always those people. But for the most part, and again, don't tell anybody this, please, okay? Don't tell people this, but just between us, Democrats, as a rule, and regular run-of-the-mill Democrats are a lot more conservative than any of the people running right now, with the exception of maybe Joe Biden, who is not running yet, hasn't announced yet. Most Democrats are like Joe Biden. They're in that lane, socially and everything else. I'm not talking about most Democrats grope 12-year-olds. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying most Democrats are more in line with Joe Biden than they would be with an Ocasio-Cortez. I mean, no one likes her, even in her own district. If she wins in 2020, it will be a miracle. So that's the only good thing about the future, is that we know that Ocasio-Cortez, Omar, and maybe even Tlaib will all be out of there, because the Democrats don't like this. I'm not defending Nancy Pelosi and these guys, but they don't like this. They don't like these people running around making fools of themselves and talking. They don't like Beto O'Rourke out there talking about reparations. there are very few Democrats who really believe in reparations or in getting rid of airplanes or so as I pointed out yesterday, so I want to repeat myself, Democrats generally, the ones I know at least, they are not anywhere near the proclivities of not only the candidates running, but certainly the news media. I mean, CNN. I mean, look at the ratings on CNN. As I point out, Tucker Carlson, his show has higher ratings than 3 of the nighttime shows on CNN combined. You know, Don Lemon and the usual suspects. I mean, so no one is watching this television network. And by the way, keep in mind, if you really want to get right down to it, it's really kind of amazing, is we have, 250, 70 million people in this country? I think it's up to 280. And only 797,000 people watch Don Lemon. I mean, that's really, I guess that's a lot in the TV world, but it's really not a lot of people. I mean, you've got Tucker Carlson even he is a rock star with 3 million people and some change. And that's 3 million people out of 200 and, I wish I knew the population of the United States. I probably shouldn't I? I never check up on the population of the United States. Do you? What is it? Does anybody know on Facebook? 280. Probably way off. I never really calculated. There's never really a reason for me to check up on the population of the United States. But I guarantee you my 7-year-old knows. I don't have a 7-year-old, but okay, my 9-year-old knows what the population is, but I don't. I haven't checked lately. But anyway, just letting you know that the people who are going out there voting and that kind of stuff, they have nothing in common with the left wing of the Democrat Party, and they have nothing in common with Allison Camerata on CNN's morning show, and nothing in common with Don Lemon. Don Lemon is speaking to probably 10 of his friends who all think alike and drink alike, obviously. That's pretty much it. So don't worry about it. We'll see, and they'll never catch on because this is too much fun for them. So they'll never catch on because they're living in a bubble that's defined for them by the news media. I mean, you see what's going on here. This Pete Buttigieg guy probably has a million ideas for improving this country, and yet he's surrounded by a gaggle of reporters demanding to account for saying all lives matter. So these people aren't really serious about issues pertaining to real people, everyday people. So unfortunately what happens is the candidates have to live within the journalism circles. They have to live within that accounting. They don't because they're not out talking to voters. Maybe they are, but more publicly, they're usually, whenever they get on TV, it's being confronted or being talked to by the media. So they're always having to live by the media standards, which is one reason why President Trump did as well as he did, because he wasn't living within the media standards set for him. He was living within the standards set for him by people he was talking to every day at rallies. It's pretty simple. So these guys are trapped. Joe Biden's trapped. 327.2 million. Wow, it's increased. Lots of people coming over the Rio Grande, are they? But yeah, so Joe Biden's forever trapped in this touchy thing and this touching people, and he's never going to get out of that. And Pete Buttigieg is always going to be the all lives matter guy, and so the media is not serious about this stuff. Your phone calls are welcome. Call Tammy.com. Real estate listener line is 844-855-1380. It's Common Sense Radio.
More Allman in the Morning coming up on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer. Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
An accident still has 70 eastbound closed from Adelaide to Grand Avenue, and the backup approaching that starts at O'Fallon Park. Westbound 70 blocked at Grand as well. Now we can see everything from the jam cam at Grand. Southbound 67, you're still closed from those lanes closed from the Mississippi River to the Missouri River with flooding, and the southbound 67 traffic sharing the northbound lanes. Also in downtown Alton, 100 southbound at 67, right lane blocked with flooding. Traffic is sponsored by H&R Block. April 15th is right around the corner, and admit it, taxes are complicated this year. Lucky for you, H&R Block has the expertise you need. No one knows tax reform better than Block, and their tax pros will get you every credit, deduction, and dollar you deserve. Make an appointment or walk in today. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
Do you consider yourself as the expert in your industry? Do others in the community consider you to be the expert in your line of business? There's an affordable way to position your company as the expert. I'm Lori Vernier, Sales Manager for 1380 AM The Answer and Salem Media St. Louis. Let us help you bring your brand to life. You know your business, and we know how to build an effective and engaging radio show with both on-air and online distribution. Grow your business by enhancing your credibility and branding yourself as the market expert in your field, positioning you above your competitors. Let's work together to help make you the expert St. Louisans turn to for information in your industry. Contact me, Lori Vernier, at theanswerstl.com, and we can discuss bringing your brand to life with your own radio program.
If you love radio as much as we do, then why don't you join us by having your own show? Just go to theanswerstl.com and click Contact Us at the bottom of the page.
This station owned and operated by Salem Media Group.
We know you're out there hiding in plain sight, living a life of quiet desperation, wondering if you're going to beat your money to the grave. There's a better way, a better life at Lifestyles Unlimited. It's time to live the life you deserve. You can only do that by creating passive income. Let us show you how. It's just 2 hours. It can't be worse than another meeting about meetings or another mindless night in front of the TV. Go to lifestylesunlimitedworkshop.com. That's lifestylesunlimitedworkshop.com.
Hi, this is Jess with Razorback Armory in De Pere. I would like to take a moment to thank all of our Answer listeners for their continued patronage and support over the last 4 years. I know there are many choices out there for you to spend your hard-earned dollars. I definitely appreciate you choosing to shop local with Razorback Armory as your go-to shop for firearms, silencers, ammo, and accessories. Thanks again, and I look forward to seeing you soon at Razorback Armory, located just east of 270 on Manchester Road in De Pere and online at razorbackarmory.com.
Business owners, self-employed, part-time employees, are you struggling to pay your bills because you no longer can afford your health insurance? Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. With Obamacare premiums skyrocketing, higher deductibles, and shrinking networks, let me introduce you to Dryden Camus Insurance Agency as the answer, the solution. Dryden Camus Insurance Agency has non-Obamacare ACA-compliant plans that do not fund abortion. There's no enrollment period, and you don't have to pay for expensive extras like pediatric dentistry or maternity care. Contact Joyce at Dryden Camus Insurance Agency and start saving up to 60%. Call 877-695-0245. That's 877-695-0245, or just go to kddi-ins.com. Cut through the confusion and save money with Dryden Camus Insurance Agency, serving Missouri and Illinois. This is the answer. This is the solution. Dryden Camus Insurance Agency. Just go to kddi-ins.com.
KXFN St. Louis, K287BY St. Louis. Arc Midnight with John B. Wells. We can't describe the show. You just need to listen. Sunday morning at midnight. Now, back to Allman in the morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
And it seems every time you turn around, ladies and gentlemen, you have a brand new candidate coming out. I never even knew that this guy, this Democrat, Tim Ryan of Ohio, is running for president. I'm trying to keep up. I mean, I think generally that I am a person who pays attention to these things, but then suddenly there's just another guy, and he's pushing for a $40 an hour minimum wage, and he's being loved upon by the usual suspects. So we're going to have that for you coming up. And Maxie did wind up seeing Best of Enemies. What is it called again?
Best of Enemies.
Best of Enemies. He wound up seeing that on Tuesday as a preview, and that opens tonight, right? In theaters?
That's right. It's in theaters now, yeah.
And Max is going to review that for Max on Movies. And then we also have Papalopoulos, the world-famous Papalopoulos. You know who I'm talking about. He's going to be on with us at 9:35. You know, he wrote a book, and so he's a good guy and finally kind of blowing the whistle on what's going on. So George Papalopoulos is going to join us at 9:30, and then at 8:30, we've got Doug Giles. And your phone calls, too. I mean, now that we've established the population of the United States of America, I think the rest is gravy today, don't you? Call Tammy.com. Real estate listener line is 844-855-1380. 844-855-1380.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. California, here he comes. In a couple of hours, President Trump leaves the White House for a trip to a California border town and an up-close look at the situation there.
The president travels to Calexico, a town that sits on the U.S.-Mexico border. There, he'll see a new 30-foot-tall section of wall being built. Yesterday, Mr. Trump backed off his threat to close the southern border, instead saying he'll impose auto tariffs on Mexico first if there's no progress in slowing the flow of migrants and illegal drugs.
White House correspondent Greg Clugston, legal action aimed at blocking the president's border emergency declaration has been filed in California.
The American Civil Liberties Union filed a request in California on behalf of communities along the border and the environmental group, the Sierra Club. The court papers say President Trump is overstepping his executive powers by diverting funds from the Department of Defense to Homeland Security to pay for a wall.
Correspondent Jackie Quinn. A devastating letdown for the family of an Illinois boy who disappeared in 2011 when he was 6 years old. DNA testing has determined that someone who claimed to be Timothy Pitson is not. He's actually a 23-year-old ex-convict from Ohio. Kara Jacobs, an aunt of the missing boy, says she's not angry at the man who made the false claim.
I don't think that anything involving a child is a hoax, and I would reserve all judgment and pray for the young man involved.
Wall Street futures higher this morning ahead of today's release by the Labor Department of the employment report for March. Economists expect a big improvement over February's disappointing report of just 20,000 jobs added. Right now, Dow futures are up about 23 points. S&P futures currently better by 3, and NASDAQ futures trading 10 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
We have some good news on 70 eastbound now. That earlier accident at Grand Avenue that had it shut down there, that has cleared. So you're back up, though. Still a little bit tight back to O'Fallon Park, but otherwise that crash out of the way. We do still have flooding issues. Sections of the Great River Road closed at Grafton, and in downtown Alton, 100 southbound at 67. A right lane is blocked there with flooding, too. And Midway Roadwork 9 to 4:30 on westbound 64 and the Poplar Street Bridge. Traffic is sponsored by H&R Block. April 15th is right around the corner, and admit it, taxes are complicated this year. Lucky for you, H&R Block has the expertise you need. No one knows tax reform better than Block, and their tax pros will get you every credit, deduction, and dollar you deserve. Make an appointment or walk in today. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
1380 The Answer. Weather.
Mostly cloudy today, high 66. Partly cloudy as we head into the evening, low tonight 52. Rather cloudy and a little bit warmer for Saturday, high 73. Cloudy and mild Saturday night with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm around, low 60. Sunday, a thick cloud cover and warm with a shower or thunderstorm, high 74. I'm Madison Baggett with your St. Louis Metro forecast on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
Hello, St. Louis. This is James Enstall, host of Geek to Me Radio, heard every Sunday at 1 p.m. right here on The Answer, and I have a mission for you.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
The next time you want to buy something from Amazon, go to geektomeradio.com first and click our Amazon affiliate link. Simply shop like you normally would, and when you check out, a small percentage will go to supporting the show. So remember, the next time you want to search Amazon for the latest Game of Thrones Blu-ray or Sonic screwdriver, click through from geektomeradio.com first.
This tape will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
Come on, kids. We're late.
Honey, the car won't start.
Mom, the dog just sat on my science project.
Life can be stressful, but getting life insurance shouldn't be. That's why there's Ethos.
Ethos is a modern kind of life insurance that's super fast, incredibly affordable, and very uncomplicated. At GetEthos.com, there are no medical exams for policies covering under $1 million, no hours of paperwork or meetings with pushy representatives. It only takes 10 minutes to apply, and you can rest assured knowing you've taken steps to protect your family. And in most cases, with Ethos, you can have that peace of mind for less than a cup of coffee a day with no hidden fees. Having life insurance can free you from stress. Getting life insurance shouldn't cause it. Discover how uncomplicated life insurance can be at Ethos. Get your free instant quote and submit your complete application in minutes. Just go to GetEthos.com. That's ETHOS. GetEthos.com. GetEthos.com.
Common Sense Radio with Allman in the morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Give me land, lots of land, and the starry skies above. Don't fence me in. Let me ride through the wide open country that I love. Don't fence me in. Let me be by myself in the evening breeze. Listen to the murmur of the cottonwood trees. Send me off forever, but I ask you please. Don't fence me in. Don't fence me in. Just turn me loose. Let me straddle my own saddle underneath the western skies. On my cayuse, let me wander over yonder till I see the mountains rise. I want to ride to the ridge where the west commences. Gaze at the moon until I lose my senses. I can't look at hovels and I can't stand fences. Don't fence me in. Don't fence me in.
Don't forget, people, we have an evening with me and Larry Elder coming up on the 9th of May. That is a Thursday right here in the studios and over at View 17 at the U Club Tower in Brentwood. And this is going to be a great, fun little evening with Larry Elder, who is an amazing guy. You heard him interviewed earlier this week when we announced the entire event. It's going to be a fun event. We have VIP tickets going right now for $79 that are all inclusive, including pictures and conversations, tours of the studio, free drinks and hors d'oeuvres, everything down the line. It's going to be a great investment for you. On top of that, each VIP ticket holder will get a free copy of Larry Elder's book, A Lot Like Me, A Father and Son's Journey to Reconciliation. We touched on that a little bit in our conversation, but it's Larry's memoir of how he had a really kind of bad relationship with his father and how, as an adult, Larry finally ultimately confronted him and learned a lot about his dad's past life and how that played into his dad's relationship with him and his dad's actions as an adult. So it's a very interesting story, really great piece, and I think it'll hit you right in your heart. But this is a copy of Larry Elder's book that you're going to get, and then I'm sure you're also going to be able to make sure you get it signed by him, too. So he will sign it, and you'll get a free book as part of the $79 package. So awesome. And also, if you're thinking, well, maybe that'll take care of my Father's Day gift to my dad. Perfect. You know, it's a great gift idea. All right, so coming up, Doug Joust is going to join us at 8:30. Max is going to be reviewing Best of Enemies, and we're going to follow up with George Papalopoulos at 9:35. All right, so speaking of this Ryan guy, so he goes on The View, and I guarantee you, I guess I have to tell you, I don't want to be overconfident, but I'm really happy with how things are kind of boiling out with the Democrat slate right now. We're watching the Democrats themselves basically try to push Joe Biden out. They're threatening him with this Ukraine story and with the touchy-feely story. And so it's a pretty interesting development there where the minute Joe Biden starts to kind of rear his head with the possibility of voting, they pull what the left is really good at, and that is the smear campaign. And they got him because most of us haven't liked what he's been doing for a while, but Democrats now suddenly don't like it. And that's a problem for him, not us. And then you had this Buttigieg guy falling all over himself regarding the Black Lives Matter and All Lives Matter thing. Then you have Beto O'Rourke going and kissing Al Sharpton's pinky ring at the National Extortion Network, where he declares himself yet another recovering white man among the many out there and calling for reparations. You've got Ocasio-Cortez, who really isn't old enough to run for president. She's 29 years old, but she's kind of the titular reflection of the party's mantra, and she's calling for an end to airplanes. And yet Bernie Sanders, who really isn't going to be taken nearly as seriously as he was last time around. So I'm more than comfortable with and Kamala Harris and Cory Booker, they're not even really. Kamala Harris, at first, I thought was going to be a big threat, but doesn't seem to be at this point. But we'll see. You just never know. I just go back to 1992, 91, when you first saw the slate and how Bill Clinton came out of it that way. So Democrats have been really liking stopping by The View, though. They like going on that show. And Tim Ryan officially announced that he was the guy who's going to beat Trump in the next election. He's a Democrat from Ohio. He's a congressman from Ohio. And he was also, at one point, an NRA member and was pro-life. And now suddenly is another one of these woke white dudes, another one of these recovering white men, who's now going back and kind of apologizing for everything. And he is now trying to court progressives. So The View entertains him, and here's how it all went down on The View for Tim Ryan on The View.
Mueller's two-year investigation into Russian interference came to an end, found no evidence of the campaign conspiring with Russia. Democrats have voted to subpoena the full report and are determined to get Trump's taxes. Do you think Democrats are focused on the wrong thing going into 2020?
I think we need transparency. Article 1 created the Congress, and the Congress governs. It's closest to the people, so it has a right for these documents, including President Trump's taxes. We need to immediately get...
What did he just say? There's no way those people in that audience were listening to that and clapping. There's no way. I think he said Trump's taxes, and that set off the buzzer in their minds. I think that's all they... I think that because I was actually... I'm sitting here in front of it, and I'm bored out of my skull. I'm watching it, literally... Okay, maybe I was a little distracted by something on the TV, but that's about it. It's the way everybody
on
lives.
An economic message on how we're going to help working class people with their health care, the environmental issues, jobs, wages. I think as Democrats, I'm for the fight for 15. I believe we do need to raise the minimum wage, but we can't be saying we're for 15. We need $30 an hour jobs, $40 an hour jobs. We've got to get back onto that message. And when you talk about the new economy, the new technologies, that's what those jobs pay. So let's get busy putting that together.
Well, and that's not such a bad idea. I mean, I think there was a misinterpretation of what he had to say, because I saw it in the headline and told you about it earlier in the evening, in the morning. And the fact is, I thought people assume he's calling for a $40 minimum wage. That's not true. I think he's right that ultimately, if we're going to create an economy that is a good one, that is actually a high-wage economy, then we have to invest in that through lowering taxes and lowering regulation. Unfortunately, he speaks in correct ways, that we need to stop worrying about jobs at McDonald's and let's start worrying about jobs in factories and jobs in technology, jobs actually building the robots that we're using now, all kinds of things. We need that, definitely do. But that's already happening. It wasn't happening under Obama. We're now at the lowest unemployment rate we've seen in ages. We're now at a stage right now where wages of blue-collar workers are now growing faster than wages for white-collar workers. We're really doing pretty well. And everything that Democrats are touting right now goes in the opposite direction of that. So I think Tim Ryan is right here, but there's nothing in his political approach, nothing in his philosophical approach to our economy that will make that happen. So he's close, but he's missing the real deal here, and that is that everything these guys are standing for, higher taxes, more regulation in the formulation of the Green Deal, all that stuff is not going to get him where he says to the view he wants to be. I'll back up a little bit. I don't see how he plans on making this happen.
People with their health care, the environmental issues, jobs, wages. I think as Democrats, I'm for the fight for 15. I believe we do need to raise the minimum wage, but we can't be saying we're for 15. We need $30 an hour jobs, $40 an hour jobs. We've got to get back onto that message. And when you talk about the new economy, the new technologies, that's what those jobs pay. So let's get busy putting that together.
And unfortunately, again, I just played that for you, but I'm repeating it again for this purpose. Nothing in the Democrat platform gets us to where he says we need to be. So he could probably just as well become a Republican. And if he's got those ideas and those big ideas for this country, then he can get there, but he's not going to get there with the Democratic Party. And by the way, too, he's got to get off the train that Democrats and Republicans are both on, and that is the train that is inviting Indian and Chinese labor here at a faster rate, a higher rate than even before. They want to grow the green card worker program, and that's not going to be helping with these technology jobs. You're taking these jobs from Americans. But it's too bad he can't talk like that even. But unfortunately, both political elements, you have the Republicans and Democrats. Unfortunately, you have Republicans and Democrats who are having to really kowtow to their political campaign masters, the people who are putting money into their tills. So I don't know whether there's any way you're going to ever get anybody off of this desire to expand the green cards because there's too much money. You've got Oracle and Amazon and all these guys putting money into these campaigns, Republican and Democrat. And there's no way they're going to not advocate for an expansion of the green card program because it helps these guys. By the way, just as an aside, did you see the raid on the El Paso tech company where they seized about 200-plus illegal aliens? And it turns out that these illegal aliens who were working there, they had jobs, but they were severely mistreated at this establishment. They were basically working for slave wages in terrible working conditions. These are guys who, what they did was they recycled phones, old phones and that kind of stuff. But they were terribly mistreated and everything else. And again, to the people who continue to be okay with the expansion of our border, with the openness of our border, with the influx of illegals, with people coming here with their kids who then are just simply caught and then released into the wild, and they claim that's a moral approach, more moral than a wall. I don't see how they defend that. It's clear we saw in El Paso this subculture of workers who were just being mistreated, and they didn't tell anybody. And they didn't tell anybody because they finally had a paycheck, and so this company could do whatever it wanted to do with them. It had the run of the place. I don't see how that can be, how Democrats can call that a more moral policy of having a subculture of slave labor here, of people who are robbed and assaulted and everything else, who won't call the police, how that's more moral than shutting a border down or building a wall. I don't know. Anyway, Tim Ryan continues.
I have to say, I'm very impressed with you. Are we all? He's wonderful.
Yeah, you're great.
Well, we like him.
We've run out of time.
Tim Ryan was very impressive.
Very interesting. He was very interesting.
He's like he doesn't have any baggage.
No.
He
reminds me a lot of, he's going to have to figure out how he's different than.
Believe me, I know that Joy says he doesn't have any baggage, but give him a little bit more of a leg up, And the Democrats will find the baggage, believe me. Bernie Sanders will find the baggage.
Biden.
Yeah, I think this has been a great show. Tim Ryan, presidential candidate.
Yeah, so they're all very happy with him. And I remember Joy talking about Mitt Romney. Remember that? And she called him, he's my favorite Republican. I think it was Mitt Romney. At that point, that was when they desperately wanted Romney to run against Obama in 2012, and they got their wish. But remember how they're always telling you in the run-up to the, and this is on the Democrat side, but I'm talking about the Republican side, they're always telling you in the run-up to these elections sometimes, the Democrats, who they like in the Republican Party. Like ever in a million years vote for anybody in the Republican Party. They did this. They did the thing with John McCain. That's how we wound up with John McCain, because the media loved him, and John McCain was the little, kind of moderate Republican guy, the guy who'd always be so friendly and always, be on TV for them, and they dug him. I mean, they were so he was their favorite Republican, but they knew that, first of all, the minute he get the nomination, they'd call him a racist and a cheater and gang of five and all that kind of stuff, and they'd bring up and corrupt. But in the run-up to that, it's like, yeah, you know what? I really like John McCain. He seems to be a reasonable Republican. It's like, yeah, right. The minute he got the nomination, they were all over him. Romney's the same way. Remember, everybody's like, yeah, Mitt Romney seems to be a reasonable guy. And he's a Mormon. He's wealthy, self-made man, had his money. Wasn't self-made, but you know what I mean. Then the minute he gets the nomination, Mitt Romney's like, he rode his car with his dog on the top of it. Remember that one? He hates animals. Oh, they were all over it. His book of women, his blah, they were all over him. But before that, Mitt Romney was their favorite Republican. So watch out for Joy Behar when she declares who her favorite Republican is. That's the one you need to desperately shy away from. All right, we are in the Arrowhead Building Supply Studios. You can call the Tammy.com real estate listener line at 844-855-1380, 844-855-1380. This is Common Sense Radio.
Live from the Arrowhead Building Supply Studio, this is Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer. Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
We're only looking at one slow spot at this hour on the roads, and that's on 6440 eastbound 170 to Big Bend. You're just a little bit tight there. Not a big deal. Flooding is still a big problem, though. We have sections of the Great River Road closed at Grafton. Southbound 67 is closed from the Mississippi River to the Missouri River with flooding, and the southbound traffic is sharing the northbound lanes. And we've got construction. Your exit ramp from eastbound 70 to Madison, that remains closed with roadwork until the end of September. Traffic is sponsored by Express Services, Inc. You work hard. You know what it takes to succeed. Now it's time to put your experience to work and launch your business. For a limited time, Express Employment Professionals will give you $25,000 to open your franchise. Get to know Express. Visit expressfranchising.com today. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
Hey, folks, let me tell you something about Michael's Flooring Outlet, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. And let me tell you something about Michael and his dedication to you, the consumer. So this is going on 25 years. He started his business when he was a young man, 25 years ago, with $700 in his pocket. Since then, he has expanded to a 4-store megaplex. I'm telling you, he's got the outlet there in St. Peter's. He's got the one in Darden Prairie, Florissant, and Creve Coeur. And what's great about it is each particular store has its own particular kind of approach. So the prices are all the same, and the installation is all the same, and the variety is all the same. But when I say each particular approach, I'm talking about going to the web at michaelsflooringoutlet.com, and you'll see a pop-up screen. First thing you'll see is a $500 off offer, a tax refund offer coming to you in the form of a coupon. So that's great. So you get your tax refund, as they call it, even though we know it's not really a refund. But, It's a tax refund. You take that, you get a coupon, you get $500 off your next project. But you go on the web, and I really like his website because it's very explanatory, all kinds of videos up there, all kinds of samples of the floor on down the line. But if you go on to the site, they'll pop up in the corner there, a little chat element there. And if you want to ask a question, they'll take you to each particular store. So if there's a store near you in Darden Prairie, that's where you want to ask your question. Or St. Peter's, that's where you want to ask the question. So they'll get you to where you need to be and take ultra good care of you. So it's all hands-on. It's great pricing, amazing variety, and it's a guy who built his business from the ground up, Michael Reynolds and Michael's Flooring Outlet. Check it out on the web. It's michaelsflooringoutlet.com.
Curtains, shades, blinds, shutters. What are the best for living rooms or bedrooms? Let me tell you about the quality customized service you will receive when you call Michael Proctor at Proctor Drapery. Michael Proctor is an interior designer with exceptional expertise when it comes to window treatments for your home or business. Michael Proctor has served our St. Louis area since 1974 with the highest quality and value for custom drapery, blinds, shades, and shutters. He is also a top-tier Hunter Douglas priority dealer and your first choice for Norman Plantation shutters. Call Michael Proctor today and schedule your in-home consultation with Michael's mobile design unit. He will come to you. Weekend and evening appointments are available. The one-on-one appointment with Michael Proctor will ensure the look is exactly what you're looking for in your home or business. Cut down on the risk of error and make your home great again. Proctor Drapery is the answer. Schedule your appointment today with Michael. Contact Michael at proctordrapery.com. It's Proctor spelled like doctor.
Hey, want to talk with Jamie? Call 844-855-1380. 844-855-1380. And interact with Common Sense Radio. This is Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Good morning this morning. Happy opening day, everybody. Yeah.
Her eyes make the stars look like they're not shining. Her hair falls perfectly without her.
Do you think this Lori Loughlin woman's really going to go to prison? You think they're really going to send these two actresses to prison? To tell you the truth, if Jussie Smollett isn't going to prison, these two chickie poos shouldn't have to go to prison, tell you the truth. I mean, I just, if Jussie Smollett can get away with what he got away with, why is Lori Loughlin going to prison? I still don't understand, and I know that there is a logical explanation why these people are getting the hammer so hard pounded down on them. I think I understand it. I mean, I think there was a level of wire fraud or whatever else, but to me, and I'm not saying that I agree with this, even if I did, I wouldn't have the money to do it myself. I'm just saying that don't people kind of do this all the time in just simply roundabout ways? Like people dump money into a foundation or something, or I don't know, give money for a building or something, and then their kids are wind up. I mean, this doesn't happen all the time. And besides it, what's different than paying to go in, than being sent to a school and getting to be able to go to school solely because you're black? Like, why is that any better than somebody paying for their kid to get into school? You know what I mean? Like, you know, these schools that have quotas and affirmative action and all that kind of stuff. Why is that any better than having special treatment because of your race or whatever it happens to be? I don't see what the difference is. It seems to me the whole concept of going to college and getting into universities really is kind of arbitrary anyway. I think. I mean, generally, if you really want to get into the schools, people can make that happen. I think it happens all the time. So I'm not really quite sure what the problem is here. I mean, I don't agree with it, but it just seems like, why was this a surprise to anybody that people were paying to get their kids into college? Phil, does that make us amoral to kind of like not really know what the issue is here? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I was kind of shocked that people were surprised. Yeah, because it sounded like business as usual to me. But I guess I just heard you say the wire tap or wire fraud, that may be the actual law.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Like mail fraud is stuff I don't agree with, obviously. But if somebody had told me that Lori Loughlin paid so many millions of dollars or whatever to get her kid into USC before all this happened, I'd be like, oh, that doesn't surprise me. Yeah, I would never. I mean, even if she went on The View and said that's what she did, I think most of the View people would go, "Oh, that's fantastic! You had the money for that. If only we had the money for that. It's amazing. You're such a dedicated mother. You're my favorite Hollywood actress." But then they get charged with something. I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't know that was wrong. School me. Call the Tammy.com real estate listener line at 844-855-1380. Free Lori Loughlin.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. California, here he comes. In a couple of hours, President Trump will be leaving the White House for a trip to the California border town of Calexico. He'll get a closer look at the situation on the border, including a stretch of new fencing recently installed. Legal action aimed at blocking Mr. Trump's border emergency declaration has been filed in California, the suit filed by the ACLU. It's a devastating letdown for the family of an Illinois boy who disappeared in 2011 when he was 6 years old. DNA testing has determined that someone who claimed to be Timothy Pitson is not, actually a 23-year-old ex-convict from Ohio. On Wall Street right now, stock futures pointing to a higher open later on. Dow futures up about 35 points. S&P futures 3 points higher. More details at srnnews.com.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Just a couple of slow spots, and we have one accident reported, 170 northbound. We've got a crash reported on the exit ramp to Airport Road. 270 westbound, 367 to West Florissant, just a slight delay there. 6440 eastbound, 170 to Big Bend is slowing up a little bit. We also have flooding still closing southbound 67 from the Mississippi River to the Missouri River, and southbound 67 sharing the northbound lane. Flooding still an issue. Traffic is sponsored by H&R Block. April 15th is right around the corner, and admit it, taxes are complicated this year. Lucky for you, H&R Block has the expertise you need. No one knows tax reform better than Block, and their tax pros will get you every credit, deduction, and dollar you deserve. Make an appointment or walk in today. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
1380 The Answer. Weather.
Mostly cloudy today, high 66. Partly cloudy as we head into the evening, low tonight 52. Rather cloudy and a little bit warmer for Saturday, high 73. Cloudy and mild Saturday night with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm around, low 60. Sunday, a thick cloud cover and warm with a shower or thunderstorm, high 74. I'm Madison Baggett with your St. Louis Metro forecast on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
When you listen to the Ed Martin movement, you never know who's going to drop in.
Roma Downey is famous for being an actress, a well-known leader in the community, and today, a New York Times bestseller.
My judgment of a successful book will be knowing that one person, whoever they are, gets the book and it helps them through a time of struggle.
Well, I wrote mine to get on the New York Times bestseller list. No, I'm just teasing.
Tune in to the Ed Martin movement, weekdays from 3 to 5 to find out who's dropping in next.
Hi, this is Jess with Razorback Armory, and spring cleaning time is here. It's time to go over your revolvers, pistols, rifles, and shotguns, knock off the dust, dirt, and grime, and get them cleaned up and ready to go. We carry a full line of cleaning products and accessories to get your firearms back into tip-top shape. Don't have time to do it yourself? No problem. We offer a wide variety of cleaning, preservation, and restoration services to fit your needs. Stop by and see the pros at Razorback Armory, located just east of 270 on Manchester Road in De Pere, and online at RazorbackArmory.com.
This is Dennis Prager. I want to invite you to join me for a travel opportunity that may be the highlight of your year, maybe even one of the highlights of your life. I'm headed back to Israel in December 2019 for a 10-day Stand With Israel tour. A tour of the key sites and places meant to give you an unprecedented view of a world you've likely only read or heard about. Come home inspired, renewed, and empowered by the experience if you've ever dreamed of seeing Israel. This is your opportunity.
Book your trip at theanswerstl.com. Beyond the Beltway with Bruce DeMont. A live discussion of the week's news and events. Sunday night from 9 to midnight. Now, more Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
I got my first real six-string, bought it at the 5 and dime, played it till my fingers bled, was the summer of 69, me and some guys from school, had a band and we tried real hard, Jimmy quit, Jody got married, should've known we'd never get far, oh well, look back now.
Did this guy grow up somebody, or is it a different other guy? Wasn't him, right? Okay. Who was that other guy? Wasn't there some guy, musician? I can't keep these guys straight. Who was that one musician? Like a big story came out about him and it just went away. You know that guy? Like he's world famous.
It was Ryan Adams.
Ryan Adams. There you go. Okay, I just want to make sure I get these people straight. Because I was like, oh, I like that song. I hope he didn't grow up anybody. You know, I hope he didn't rape anybody. That's the standard now you got to figure out. It's like, let's see, did he rape somebody, or can I watch him on TV? Can I watch his movies? Oh, Lord. Look at you, people, making me do this with what I'm doing right now. All right, so anyway, back to the college thing. Seriously, am I missing something here? Or, and again, I don't think it's a good thing that people pay for their kids to get into college, but I'm just saying, I just don't get this idea that I heard yesterday that the prosecutors are asking for prison for these women. They never mentioned their husbands, though. Their husbands were involved in it, right? And you got to imagine, okay, so This is the problem is you have these families are already, apparently these girls didn't really have any idea that their parents paid for them to get into school. They didn't want to go. I know that. One of the daughters had a YouTube channel, everything else. I think that was Lori Loughlin's daughter. Was it Lori Loughlin's daughter, Maxie, that had the big fancy YouTube channel?
Yes.
Okay. So anyway, it just so happened somebody dug up a year ago, a little bit from a year ago, when Lori Loughlin's daughter, on one of her YouTubes, talked about how important it is to have a good reputation. So here she is talking about her need to have a good reputation, and her parents telling her that your reputation is everything.
I don't ever think I got caught for that either. Okay, now I just make my parents sound like they don't keep tabs on me. Like, I promise I've been in trouble plenty of times. But yeah, I did some really shady when I was younger. I don't know how I didn't get caught for it. Lucky I'm alive and breathing. Really, their only thing was for me was like about safety. Like, don't Uber by yourself. Don't like, be classy. You only get one reputation. Like,
yeah, you only get one reputation, they said. and the problem here, though, is that now her parents have essentially just blew her one reputation out of the water, it seems. Now, keep in mind, I don't believe the girls, if they didn't know about this, ought to pay for this. I don't think they ought to be the ones that have their lives ruined. I mean, Lori Loughlin's daughter actually apparently at one point begged her mother not to make her go to college because she was making too much money off of her YouTube channel. And believe me, if my kids were doing that, I go, oh, thank you. I would actually take a cut, tell you the truth. I'd tell them that because I helped deliver them to the earth, I at least deserve 20% of whatever they're doing in lieu of sending them to college. They could pay me. They could pay me not to send them to college. I happen to think to a certain level that college is overrated. I still know that that's the standard, and that's the thing that you kind of have to do, and you have to have a college degree nowadays for most jobs. Unfortunately, that is usually what happens is it becomes more of a cutoff. That's the only reason college really benefits you in any way, shape, or form, because a lot of the people who lazily hire people, they have to have something that disqualifies somebody if they have too many people. So you get 10 people up for a job, and then you narrow it to 5, then you narrow it to 3, and you have 3 highly qualified individuals. And then you have to say, well, we have 3 really highly qualified individuals. Now what do we do? Well, let's take the ones who went to college, and the ones who didn't go to college with a college degree, they don't have the job. That's usually the cutoff thing for most people. But I'm telling you what, I did go to school. I went to college. I paid my way through college. I paid my entire way through college. It was considerably cheaper back then. I had the luxury of going to the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and at that time, for whatever reason, we had a reciprocal agreement with Missouri, so I was able to get in-state tuition at the University of Wisconsin. And I paid my way through it. I had a lot of bills afterwards, but I paid my way through school. But I found that the most of my learning came outside of school. Most of my learning came from doing and working and interning at radio stations, that kind of thing. So when my friends were all out drinking on the weekends, or when Thursday came about and it was the weekends were starting, I was working. So I learned a lot that way. I didn't learn much in school. I had a lot of I had some fun classes. I mean, I had a class in American humor and that kind of thing. I mean, read some books. I had some great English classes, some theater classes, that kind of stuff. But that's what I was paying for. Because I didn't learn much in radio, or whatever else. Hey, Phil, did you ever download my first radio pieces?
I do have them. I actually do.
You have them in a playable format?
I will on Monday.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll do that for you. I'll play. So that was the kind of stuff
good.
that I would do on my own, and that's where I learned most of what I'm doing now. So, I just think it's kind of I think it's overrated, and I can't stand it. I couldn't deal with this during the election. It was always infuriating to me because they would always talk about, like when they did polling and stuff, they talk about like non-college educated kids or people, voters with a college degree and voters without them. And I think it was a way for the media kind of to downgrade people. And you notice that they always talk about that, about how, more non-college educated people support so-and-so than do college-educated people, like as if that's a thing, like that means something. I mean, to me, to tell you the truth, when they tell me that college-educated people believe in this and believe in global warming, I'm like, yeah, see, that's what college does to you. It turns you into a loon. Tom's on line 1. What's going on, buddy? How you doing?
Good morning. It's nice to have Common Sense Radio back on the air.
Right on. Thank you, buddy.
You're welcome. I thought the two ladies, a fine and community service for, a year or two would be good for them. I don't think prison that's just, I think, too much,
Yeah, I mean, I just think if Jesse Smollett can go free, certainly Lori Loughlin can. I mean,
Yeah. But, you're right about college. My wife went to college. I didn't go to college. we've both done similarly as far as economically goes. I started my own business back when she was going to college, and it's done very, moderately successful. Now, not ragingly successful, but we've supported 5 children and raised them. Some of them went to college, and then she has her master's plus 30, and one semester she could have had her doctorate, but she told me one time, I only use a handful of the classes that I took in the whole time I went to college.
Yeah. No, I mean, I know I didn't learn. I mean, I what I'm doing right now, even what I did in television, radio, I didn't learn any of that in a classroom. None of it.
And you're talking about the media tries to kind of put down people that don't go to college, and I think you're right about that. But really, essentially, what you're talking about doing is where you learned. That is true, and that's the difference between people that go to college and people that don't. Is the people that don't have to actually do, and they perform actions and perform the functions that they're learning.
Yeah, and Tom, I guess to a certain degree, I guess somebody could say, yeah, but that's why you're able to reference Charles Bukowski off the tip of your tongue, or the writings of Groucho Marx, or you can refer to On the Road with Jack Kerouac. I know, but I could. Why does it take college for me to pick up a Charles Bukowski book or a Jack Kerouac book? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. And I do believe, the only thing that's strange about this, it's almost like the vaccine controversy. Like, I really sympathize with the people who believe the jury's still out on certain vaccines, but I still get my kids vaccinated. And I'm wondering, I have to have the guts eventually to deliver on this more ecumenical view about college versus non-college, because I'm not to the point now where I would discourage my kids from going to college. You know what I mean? So
right. I don't either. Some of our kids went to college, but I agree with you. But personally, for myself, I knew I'd get kicked out because I didn't agree with half the stuff they were teaching.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it was funny when Ethan came back from Iraq after being there for a year and then picked up his classes at Mizzou. He would text me on a regular basis telling me about how just unbelievable it was sitting in this classroom with this teacher. He couldn't believe they were getting away with it. But yeah, it's frustrating, that's for sure. All right, buddy.
Right, but you're right. Thank you very much.
All right,
I appreciate you being back on the air.
Hey,
okay,
thank you very much. I appreciate being on the air. Thank you, Salem Media, and the rest of the gang. And I also learned, I worked on the conservative newspaper up there as well, the Badger Herald. And it was the Badger Herald and the Daily Cardinal. And the Daily Cardinal was the left-wing one, and the Badger Herald was the right-wing one. And I worked on that, and we would, when we put the newspaper to bed, we'd have like rocks thrown at us, our windows, and we'd put our newspapers in the box, and they'd come and take them and throw them in the trash can, and it was a crazy world. But none of it in the classroom taught me much about this crazy world. Hey, Bob, thanks for calling the show. You're on line 2. What's up?
Yes, 2 suggestions on how to really solve the problem of technology jobs that are $40, $60, $70 an hour. Putting together with the St. Louis Community College and Ohio. The St. Louis Community College has a program for registered nursing certificates, and all they teach you are the courses you need to become a registered nurse. Mathematics, biology, chemistry, physiology, and they skip the Shakespeare, the art history, the psychology, sociology, and you can get that certificate in 2 years, be a registered nurse. And then if you want to study Shakespeare on your own after you've got a high-paying job at a hospital, you can go to night school. Right. And I think that we should take the Ohio approach with this, give only scholarships for people who will study mathematics, biology, chemistry, physics, engineering, computer science, a bachelor's, and cut out all the Shakespeare. I love Shakespeare, but cut out all the Shakespeare and things and do what they do with this registered nursing program. They have 5 times as many applicants every year as they can accept, because these girls find out that they can get a good-paying job in a hospital in only 2 years.
Right.
And if they want to go back and get a bachelor's. And so it would take a lot of guts on the part of Governor Greitens and the Republican legislature, but because they control the legislature, it might be able to push this through. I was opposed to Greitens. I'm glad he was gone. But he had a really good point. He said about 70% of the college programs are worthless.
Yeah.
We're turning out millions of people with degrees in drama, music, athletics. There's no jobs for them.
Right.
At the same time, every girl looks at, if I had $1 for every girl who looked at who said in junior high school, I'm going to be a registered nurse. And then they look at what's required at the junior college to get that certificate. And they say, oh, I think I'll go in sociology or psychology because you don't have to study any math or science,
Right.
But if they gave only scholarships for these things, we wouldn't have kids with $1 trillion worth of debt they can never pay off.
Yeah.
And Missouri would have what we need. Like Boeing said right now, we need 70,000 more programmers, just basic programmers. They're turning down jobs left and right in America because in Missouri and St. Louis because Boeing, Emerson Electric, and so forth, they don't have the people graduating. They're all getting degrees in drama and sociology.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Instead of
all right.
mathematics.
I got you, Bob.
If you have the guts to put the scholarship money only on those things, the politicians will get a lot of trouble. But if they do that, it'll clean up the whole college system in Missouri, and Missouri will boom.
All right, brother. Thanks for calling the show. Some great ideas there. Joe is on line 3. What's up?
Jamie, great show. For a minute there, I thought I was going to have to vote for Bob.
I know. When he gets on a roll, listen, but he's locked down on that whole issue regarding the community college thing. I mean, I think it's I
love it. I love it.
We need outside the box thinking like that. But as he kind of alluded to, he's not quite sure whether or not even the Republican legislature would have the guts to kind of take that on. There's too much money at stake on the outside. Anyway, what's up, buddy?
Hey, isn't California a sanctuary state? Can't they just apply for sanctuary?
Yeah.
In California.
What a great point. I know.
Go back, visit Mexico and come back across as Mexicans. I mean, come on, man! It's California.
She'll do the catch and release, so they'll catch her and release her, and everything will be fine.
Hey, California is sanctuary, baby.
I'm telling you, man. This audience, you guys are smart as a whip. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you calling the show. Hi, Bill. Right. Bill's on line 4. What's up, buddy? Good morning, Bill. Hey, Bill. Hi, Bill. You there? No, I think Bill got tired of listening to all of us talk. You guys can hang on. I'll get to you. If you call, I'll get to you. I mean, I just like to let people wind themselves up and let her rip. I mean, hell, you guys spend a lot of time listening to me. I'm going to spend some time listening to you. The calltammy.com real estate listener line is 844-855-1380. It's Common Sense Radio.
More Allman in the Morning coming up on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer. Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
As far as accidents and incidents go, it has been pretty light on both of those counts. We do have a crash blocking the right lane of the exit ramp from northbound 170 to Airport Road. We can see the accident from the jam cam at Airport Road. It's not causing delays because it's on the ramp. We've got one slow spot, and that's on 270 westbound, 367 to West Florissant. Northbound 270, no delays at all. 6440 is clear in both directions. We do have southbound 67 closed from the Mississippi River to the Missouri River with flooding. Traffic is sponsored by Express Services, Inc. You work hard. You know what it takes to succeed. Now it's time to put your experience to work and launch your business. For a limited time, Express Employment Professionals will give you $25,000 to open your franchise. Get to know Express. Visit expressfranchising.com today. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
You know, I got to tell you, Rick Pogue is a good friend of mine, a longtime friend of mine, and his dad, Jerry, as well. They got together with me, man, I think it's been going on about 10 years now, maybe even a little more, to support the Allman in the Morning show. And Arrowhead was great. I met Rick through Jeff Hansen, the late, great Jeff Hansen with Hansen's Tree Service. And Jeff loved Rick and Jerry, too, because they all thought alike. They're in that corridor out there in God's country in St. Charles and St. Peter's and beyond. And they were all really hardworking, and still are, obviously, hardworking small business people who just put their nose to the grindstone and constantly come up with new ways to wow their clients, wow their people, and just expand their own reach. And so Rick and Arrowhead Building Supply just came up with this brand new idea. And Rick is one of these idea guys. So what happens is he comes up with a really cool idea. He goes to Jerry and says, hey, Dad, I got this great, I think he calls him Pogue. He says, hey, Pogue, I got this great idea. Why don't we go ahead and build a showroom that has an actual house inside of the showroom? And, of course, Jerry would be like, how much does that cost? That'll just use. And then Rick will say this and this and this. And eventually what happens is Rick is a persuasive guy, so he'll convince Jerry that that's the right thing to do. And lo and behold, it's always seemingly the right thing to do. And so those two work together just beautifully. Jerry, by the way, grew up, started as a young roofer in the business, so he knows all the ins and outs of the business. That's why they're so great with people in the business. That's why they have the 3:15 guarantee, 3-hour delivery, 15-minute refills. No, you don't have to wait any longer than 15 minutes. And they deliver on Fridays, like today. And normally these guys who do building supply stuff, I guarantee you, delivering on Friday, it's not a thing in the industry, but it is with Rick and Jerry and Arrowhead Building Supply. So they're just now putting the finishing touches on that new showroom, but you can still go in and you could use the cube and you could see your picture of your home in the cube. You could see what the siding is going to look like. You can see what the roofing is going to look like. You can see everything and how all their building supplies are going to look on your home. And if you don't have a contractor, they have a contractor referral service for you. So that's long story short, arrowheadbuildingsupply.com, arrowheadbuildingsupply.com.
Communication is the key to building any business. 1380 AM and 105.3 FM, The Answer, can be your communication key. The microphone that voices your business message from the stage of your own radio show, defining you as the expert in your line of work. The stage that brings your brand to a solid awareness, place, and position in the vast community of customers listening here in St. Louis. The broadcast professionals here will help your show develop, building you, your company, and your customer base with and through an affordable on-air and online media distribution. Get to theanswerstl.com. Click Contact Us. Theanswerstl.com. Contact us. Do so and then look for a call from Sales Manager Lori Vernier. Then build your business with your very own radio show on 1380 AM and 105.3 FM. The Answer.
KXFN, St. Louis, K287BY, St. Louis.
Business owners, self-employed, part-time employees, are you struggling to pay your bills because you no longer can afford your health insurance? Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. With Obamacare premiums skyrocketing, higher deductibles, and shrinking networks, let me introduce you to Dryden Camus Insurance Agency as the answer, the solution. Dryden Camus Insurance Agency has non-Obamacare ACA-compliant plans that do not fund abortion. There's no enrollment period, and you don't have to pay for expensive extras like pediatric dentistry or maternity care. Contact Joyce at Dryden Camus Insurance Agency and start saving up to 60%. Call 877-695-0245. That's 877-695-0245, or just go to kddi-ins.com. Cut through the confusion and save money with Dryden Camus Insurance Agency, serving Missouri and Illinois. This is the answer. This is the solution. Dryden Camus Insurance Agency. Just go to kddi-ins.com.
Hey, don't just listen to Allman in the Morning. See the show at theanswerstl.com. Now, more Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
You know, Phil, I don't do that on purpose, but it just so happens my timing is naturally impeccable. I pretty much hit that post every time with that music, don't I? I don't even know how I do it. I didn't learn that in college. I learned to feel. I feel it now. Sometimes I miss it, but a lot of times I just nail it. I don't know how it happens. It's brilliance. It just comes naturally. Do you see this? The laugh now. Boy, right about the time we start to like even say, "Oh yeah, Rachel Maddow is okay," because at least she's honest about how she feels, and we get it, and she's good at what she does, being a kook. And so I admire that. But just about that time we started talking about that, suddenly the floodgates open. People are now hazing her as the left's version of Glenn Beck. And you know who's doing that? The left. There's an article in the New Republic called MSNBC's Wild Ride. And this is what the New Republic's a liberal publication, by the way. And again, this speaks to what I said before, is that a lot of liberals are liberals, but they're not nearly to the left of the left media, CNN, and all the slate of left-wing politicians now wanting to be president. So these people do not have much congruency with even the normal liberal out there. Anyway, here's what they say. Maddow is sincere without being overly earnest. She thinks that she is funnier than she is, but we all have friends who think they are funnier than they are. She's obviously smart, which makes the frequent weirdness and obscurantism of her show seem like a deliberate choice, like a serious author who has, for fun, decided to dabble in the absurd. Immediacy and intimacy are necessary for a show that consists for long stretches of a basically inert shot of a single woman who occupies the left-hand two-thirds of your screen talking. So they're just kind of like being really, really pretty relentless about the Rachel Maddow show, and it's true. But she still maintains some of the highest ratings on MSNBC. That's not saying a whole lot, but the left is even starting to turn on Rachel Maddow. I think they're right, though. I mean, look at Chris Matthews the other day saying, hey, Democrats, you guys can't possibly think you're going to win in 2020 with this slate of issues at the top. Your phone calls are welcome. Call Tammy.com. Real estate listener line is 844-855-1380.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. The just-released March employment report represents a big rebound from the month before. Employers adding 196,000 jobs last month after adding just 20,000 in February.
The Labor Department says the unemployment rate stayed at 3.8%, near the lowest level in almost 50 years. Wage growth slowed a bit as average hourly pay increased 3.2% from a year earlier. That's down from February's gain of 3.4%, which was the best in a decade. The figure suggests February's meager job growth was a temporary blip and that businesses are confident the economy remains on a firm footing.
Correspondent Jeremy House. Later today, President Trump will inspect a stretch of fencing along the U.S.-Mexico border.
The 2-mile-long border fence President Trump will visit is in Calexico, California. That's about 60 miles west of Yuma, Arizona, and was completed last October. It replaces another fence that dates back to 2009 during President Obama's first term. The new barrier also has a plaque bearing Trump's name, along with the names of top immigration and homeland security officials. Matt Small, Washington.
A shocking case of road rage in Phoenix has left a 10-year-old girl dead. Police say the gunman followed the car carrying 10-year-old Summerbelle Brown and her family home. When they pulled into their driveway, the child's father asked the gunman why he was following them. He says that's when the man started shooting. Denisha Brown is Summerbelle's mom.
Looked like he was high on something. His pupils weren't dilated, and as soon as I looked at him in his eyes, he just boom, 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 boom through the car. He didn't even reach the gun outside the window. He shot through his door.
She spoke with KNXV-TV. Police now looking for the shooter. Wall Street, Dow futures up 92 points. S&P futures 8 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
We are looking at quite a few more delays out there. Now, the accident on 170 northbound on that exit ramp, that has been cleared. Everything gone there. 270 northbound does now have a delay. 44 to Manchester southbound, Page to Ladue. And westbound 270 Old Halls Ferry to West Florissant slows. 44 eastbound Elm to Laclede Station Road. You'll see some delays. Now, we did have an accident on 55 southbound before the 5544 underpass. That has cleared, but still backed up to 64. And traffic is sponsored by H&R Block. April 15th is right around the corner, and admit it, taxes are complicated this year. Lucky for you, H&R Block has the expertise you need. No one knows tax reform better than Block, and their tax pros will get you every credit, deduction, and dollar you deserve. Make an appointment or walk in today. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
1380, The Answer. Weather.
Mostly cloudy today, high 66. Partly cloudy as we head into the evening, low tonight 52. Rather cloudy and a little bit warmer for Saturday, high 73. Cloudy and mild Saturday night with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm around, low 60. Sunday, a thick cloud cover and warm with a shower or thunderstorm, high 74. I'm Madison Baggett with your St. Louis Metro forecast on 1380 and 105.3, The Answer.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Avocado prices skyrocket and Herman Cain may be headed to the Federal Reserve. Those stories next.
Hi, this is Rhett Rasmussen of BestHotGrill.com. We make the Solaire infrared grills, which are perfect for today's busy lifestyles. You're probably in your car right now, wondering what you'll have for dinner tonight. Imagine that when you get home, your Solaire infrared grill will be at 1,000 degrees in 3 minutes. That's right, just 3 minutes. The high heat locks in the juices and flavor and grills faster, so that in a matter of minutes, you could be sitting down to a great-tasting grilled dinner any and every night of the week. Your smoker or low-slow barbecue is great for the weekend, but the hot, fast speed and convenience of Solaire infrared grills make them your everyday go-to grill. And they aren't just for searing steaks. Solaire infrared grills also enhance fish, chicken, pork, shrimp, veggies, and fruit. Virtually everything your family enjoys. Learn more at besthotgrill.com. That's besthotgrill.com. Solaire infrared at besthotgrill.com.
President Trump declaring that he will impose tariffs on Mexican exports if Mexico continues to aid illegal immigration across the U.S. border. And the president also said that he may still shut down the border if Mexico continues to make a crisis even worse. The possibility sending avocado prices surging. A New York City restaurant says a case of avocados has doubled in price, adding $1 a plate to meals. Mortgage interest rates this week. Little movement. The average 30-year fixed mortgage ticking up just slightly to just over 4%. The lower mortgage rates and increase in available properties contributing to a revival in home sales over recent weeks. The White House says the president will nominate former Republican presidential candidate Herman Cain to a seat on the Federal Reserve Board. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 o'clock and 10 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
Larry Elder explains how things are getting better in America.
Look at the after-tax income of the top 1% since 79, and it's grown impressively, but so has the growth of the bottom of the country also grown. And as a result of falling prices here in this country, more Americans have more income left after basic expenses. Things are getting better in America.
The Larry Elder Show. Weeknights at 5 on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer. Breaking news. Stimulating talk.
Imagine doing one thing that gives you an entirely different perspective about your place in the world. Think it would be worth it? Dennis Prager here, inviting you to join me for a 10-day Stand with Israel tour, a tour through the land of Israel in December 2019. Come with me to get first-hand insight into Israel's fascinating past and promising future. Walk the ancient temple steps, sail on the Sea of Galilee, and so many more unforgettable moments. Return home inspired, renewed, and empowered. If you've ever dreamed of seeing Israel, this is your opportunity. With expert guides and important lectures at key sites, we'll be together in the comfort and safety of luxurious accommodations the whole time. Join me for a life-changing adventure to give you a renewed sense of purpose.
Join Dennis Prager and Mike Gallagher for an unforgettable guided tour through Israel this December 2nd through 11th. Book your trip now at theanswerstl.com. Common Sense Radio with Allman in the morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Give me land, lots of land, and the starry skies above. Don't fence me in. Let me ride through the wide open country that I love. Don't fence me in. Let me be by myself in the evening breeze. Listen to the murmur of the cottonwood trees. Send me off forever, but I ask you please. Don't fence me in. Don't fence me in. Just turn me loose. Let me straddle my old saddle underneath the western skies. On my cayuse, let me wander over yonder till I see the mountains rise. I want to ride to the
Hello to Stephen Hukin. Thank you, sir. Wrote on the Facebook page this morning. Hello, Jamie. I found you by accident this morning. and I couldn't be happier. I was searching the radio for something different and found you. Someone familiar. Imagine that. I'll be a regular listener again. So thank you, Stephen. Appreciate you very much, man. And hey, any way you can find me, that's perfect. I appreciate it very much. All right. Wait. Lou Dobbs was on the radio earlier, and he talked about avocado prices increasing and that some places are now charging $1 more a plate with plates that have avocados on them. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. First of all, the border didn't close. So I was thinking yesterday how they need to put a stop to the avocado demise clock that they put up there at CNN and MSNBC, because that seemed to be the biggest issue with closing of the border is what's going to happen to our avocados. And believe me, first of all, you don't have to have avocados from Mexico. If you're a restaurant, you can take your butt to the grocery store and buy avocados from California. So anybody who's charging you more for an avocado, you should never do business with them again, because they certainly don't have any reason to, and there's no avocado shortage because there's no border closing. What's that all about? That's like that's basically gouging right now. And thanks to MSNBC and CNN for making a big deal out of the fact that we will run out of avocados in 3 weeks. It's like, no, you won't. But the ones from California are better anyway, and they probably don't have poop all over them because from the Mexicans handling them. I'm not kidding you. I don't buy anything from Mexico. You kidding me? I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to be like disparaging to Mexicans. I'm just saying that how many times do we have people who get E. coli eating like stuff from Mexico? Ugh. They'll wash their hands down there. I'm doing that. Go to California where they wash their hands in their sanctuary state. With they probably use that Germex. Anyway, avocados from Ben Murphy. How you doing?
Jamie Allman.
Are you an avocado man?
Jamie, I love avocados.
Do you?
I love the graphic Phil's got up, man. He's the graphics master.
Yeah, it's an avocado.
Yeah, avocados, man. You know, the whole E. coli and poop on your hands and picking crops and such. I think that's the cover story they used back when they decided they had to sanitize almonds because there was a couple of outbreaks of some contaminant supposedly on almonds, you know, because almonds in their natural state are anti-cancer agents.
They are they?
Oh, yeah.
I got you. Better than vaccines, I guess, huh?
Man, vaccines. We're going to talk. You know, vaccines. Jamie, there's a push. We're going to get a push for mandatory vaccines. It's already going on. And they're gonna stick us and continue to stick us. I don't know what the number is. Kids get a total of 37 vaccines or so by the time they're in the 4th or 5th grade now.
Ben, what's going on?
5.
What's going on in Jefferson City? What is the thing that? What are they doing down there? I mean, I know they're in session. So what exactly is going on? I mean, I think I saw one guy with the idea we talked about that already with the primaries, but what else is what are they doing down there?
What are they doing? What's she doing back there? Jamie, I wish I knew. I honestly, I don't know. I'm not tuned in to the extent that I've got all the ins and outs. I'm trying to keep up with what's going on in St. Louis County, which is hard enough with Better Together and Stenger indictments and his staff indicting, getting all. No, they're not indicted yet. Not yet. They're just getting subpoenaed.
Yeah, I would definitely qualify that one. You know,
and you got Better Together in on this somehow.
Then indicted Stenger. You know, I was like, wait.
Well, I know. They're probably going to get him.
Listen.
Let's hope so.
I think that actually, it's funny. That's been happening for a long time now. All that talk, because I think you even talked about it a while
that's
back.
been coming since day one.
Right.
They've been looking into, what's this guy up to?
Let me ask you something from this standpoint, because I was talking to some people who are business people, and they don't understand, and I tried to get them to understand why people had a hang up with this city-county merger. And I said to them, it's really plain. I mean, on paper, it looks like the city and the county being together is actually a pretty good idea from a regional economy approach. I mean, it's not beyond the realm of comprehension that would happen, since we're the only second city in the country that has a construct like this. But I told him, I said, but the problem is, it's not that these people are just knee-jerk opposed to it because they're opposed to it. They're opposed to it because of the way it's being presented to them and to the public. Because right now, it's not in a trustworthy format that they're bringing it to us. Don't present us with a picture of Stenger and Lyda Crewson sitting together and saying, hey, here's your new government. Have fun. It's like, that's not going to fly with people. That doesn't work that way. And Rex Sinkenfeld, who's done a lot of good things for this area, and Better Together, they've done some really good things too. But what I'm saying is, there was this assumption that if you were against it, you were some kind of weird, backwards Cro-Magnon, when in fact, no, we're just opposed to the way it's being handled right now.
Not only are you a backward Cro-Magnon, but, if you oppose Better Together, you're going to be racist, Jamie. Yeah, because, you want to be selfish and racist out here in the county because to a much greater extent in the county, we've been fiscally responsible with our assets. And the city certainly hasn't. They're broke.
Yeah.
So that's why we call this bailout together. And I'll tell you.
It's funny. One quick thing. See, this is one of the things that happens every time Ben comes in, Phil. Is it he knows, I know he knows that Better Together is right in the next room. I mean, I'm not kidding you, okay? Ben knows that. So Ben always makes it just loud enough because he knows they can hear him.
Can they hear? I thought hey, you don't have to talk loud because my guess is they're tuned in.
Oh, I know.
They
know. The problem is they're really good people there. The problem is they're tasked with something sometimes that is impossible. So these people who are they're out there having to do all this research and do all this kind of stuff, but the people who are above them are the ones who are really driving it.
Well, I'll throw a name out, Tim Jones. And Tim Jones, great conservative, did all the right things in the Republican Party to a great extent, and yet, because of the nature of who he works for, he's got to put a smile on his face and put lipstick on this pig and say, and write up things like the conservative cause for Better Together. All the while,
where was that?
Your buddy Scott Fawn put out a special Missouri Times Missouri Times issue for
Tim became part of that.
Well, yeah, he had the big article in that paper. It was the special edition for the state Lincoln Reagan days in St. Louis, and I had a copy of it.
Well, because Tim Jones, I mean, he and I he spoke to me. Tim, I think he raked Scott Fawn over the coals, man. He's the one who would constantly just rail on Scott Fawn.
This is
Not
why
anymore?
This is why they say politics makes strange bedfellows, Jamie.
Okay.
What have you done for me lately?
Okay.
And which brings, and let me circle back to what you've got the best listening audience out there, the call-ins. Yet, I believe it was yesterday, somebody called in and you guys went down it might have been one of the great blue-collar union UAW workers called in and talked about the closing of Chrysler. He wouldn't even say the word, but the closing of the Chrysler plant, and harken that to NAFTA.
Yeah.
And continue to talk about Bill Clinton. There was a time in Obama's second administration when I wish we had Bill Clinton back, but Bill Clinton, he signed it. He signed NAFTA. Yes, he did. But were it not for the Republican Congress and Newt Gingrich bragged that he got more votes for that deal than Clinton did in Congress. And that's how it passed, Jamie. Collusion with the Republican and Democrat establishment to take us down the wrong road. That's what happened there.
Yeah, well, I do agree with that. And finally, and by the way, there is the plan to redo NAFTA, but you realize that they haven't actually voted on that yet. They haven't done that anything. What are they doing up there? They're aside from standing in front of microphones and
They're after Laura Loughlin. That's what they're going to get her.
Yeah, they're going to get her.
They're going to probably convict her, and she might do time. But why don't they do something with some substance?
Yeah.
How about Clapper? How about Brennan? How about these people who've lied to Congress, who have gone against this country, sold uranium to Russia? You can go on and on about these people.
Yeah.
And until these people face the music, we will not have justice in this country.
So what do you think about, and because you're a big Trump supporter like I am, what do you think about the giving an extra year to Mexico for closing the border? Because I was noticing that for about 2 weeks now, the news media has talked about how closing the border would be the end of civilization and certainly the end of avocado toast. And then suddenly the president says, all right, I'm going to give it another year. Now CNN is calling him like a coward. He's retreating. He's looking at it. It's like, well, wait a minute. I thought you guys, wouldn't you be happy that he's extending this for another year? I always, whenever President Trump says something along these lines, I always believe that it's a game piece he's using, and he'll move it depending on what's going to benefit the country. And so, if he's not closing the border for another year, then I'm sure what he's doing is he tried to get some action as it relates to some reform. But, I think he's just trying to accommodate people, for crying out loud.
Who is he trying to accommodate, Jamie? And I'll tell you what, that's shocking news to me that he would even consider that, because if it was up to me, or maybe guys like you, we'd already had that border closed. I'd have had the military on the border.
Well, I think what happened is I assumed inaccurately that you can close a border and still allow an avocado truck through. I don't understand how you can't distinguish between Juan the illegal alien and truck with avocados. It's pretty easily distinguishable.
That's obvious, Jamie. Commerce would go on without.
But how was he sold on this idea that it wouldn't? Apparently, there was some talk about how you couldn't do commerce with the border closing. It's like, why couldn't you do that?
That's absurd. Maybe Roy Blunt got to him.
I don't know.
Who's got his ear that would even be a thought? So, we'll make that decision in a year from now. Meanwhile, another 1 million illegal invaders come into this country, driving down wages. And if the left would just, and they well know that the people who are hurt the most are the people at the low end of the scale immediately, and that drags wages down across the board.
Yeah, I even asked Carafano this because I couldn't figure out whether or not how it's possible that you can't do both. You can't close the border and still allow car parts to come up here. Nobody's been able to answer that question for me. And folks, if you have read something or heard from somebody who's been able to explain that, please call the Tammy.com real estate listener line at 844-855-1380.
How did Carafano explain it? He's the policy, not politics guy. How did he explain it?
Well, I asked him, and then he went on to another issue. I couldn't. Their assumption was that you couldn't do both too. I don't know how, but most normal people know how you can distinguish between the two. We'll be back. Your phone calls are welcome. 844-855-1380. It's Common Sense Radio.
More Allman in the Morning coming up on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer. Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
We're accident-free right now, but we've got a number of delays, none of them horrible. Northbound 270, 44 to Manchester, southbound Page to Ladue is tight. Westbound, you'll just see some brake lights at Old Halls Ferry. 55 southbound, 64 to the 5544 underpass, back up there. And 6440 westbound, Van Deventer to Laclede Station is tight. Southbound 70 Exchange to 64, you'll see some delays. And flooding still an issue. Sections of the Great River Road still closed at Grafton. Traffic is sponsored by H&R Block. Tax day is coming, and this year more than ever, you're probably wanting some help. Head over to H&R Block. No one knows tax reform better than Block, and their tax pros will get you every credit, deduction, and dollar you deserve. Make an appointment, walk in, or drop off your docs at a Block office near you. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3, The Answer.
All right, friends, Banner Construction, Bill and Sam have been with the Allman in the Morning show for, let's see, 2005. So let's do the math. 14 years running now. And I so appreciate their dedication, not only to the show and to you, but also to you as a homeowner and to me as a homeowner, because I've done 3 separate projects with them, and they have done a great job, whether it be putting on the vintage roofing shingle, the Tamco roofing shingle I got from the Arrowhead Building Supply guys, or the siding on the house. They did a great job with that, and they just are good people all around. The James Hardy board I had on my old house, and they installed that, and it increased the value of the home, so it was really just amazing. So this James Hardy right now is their premier product, and they are the preferred installer of James Hardy fiber cement siding. So that's because the James Hardy company says you guys always do it right, and you guys know the product backwards and forwards. And on top of that, they also have the home visualizer, which is really cool. It's a piece of technology where you can actually see what the James Hardy is going to look like on your home, not just some home, but your home. And that's pretty cool, too. It's another added benefit of working with Banner Construction. And right now, you call them at 569-1050. Get on the list, so when the trucks start really a-rolling this spring, you'll be on the list for beautifying your home from the curb and from a point of view of value. And also, by the way, it saves you on your heating and cooling bills because it's an insulator, too. BannerConstruction.com.
Curtains, shades, blinds, shutters. What are the best for living rooms or bedrooms? Let me tell you about the quality, customized service you will receive when you call Michael Proctor at Proctor Drapery. Michael Proctor is an interior designer with exceptional expertise when it comes to window treatments for your home or business. Michael Proctor has served our St. Louis area since 1974 with the highest quality and value for custom drapery, blinds, shades, and shutters. He is also a top-tier Hunter Douglas priority dealer and your first choice for Norman Plantation shutters. Call Michael Proctor today and schedule your in-home consultation with Michael's mobile design unit. He will come to you. Weekend and evening appointments are available. The one-on-one appointment with Michael Proctor will ensure the look is exactly what you're looking for in your home or business. Cut down on the risk of error and make your home great again. Proctor Drapery is the answer. Schedule your appointment today with Michael. Contact Michael at proctordrapery.com. It's Proctor spelled like doctor.
Listen to Allman in the Morning with Alexa. Wake up and say, Alexa, play The Answer St. Louis. Now, back to Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Good morning this morning. I thought I was doing a My Pillow over here, Maxie. You threw me for a loop there, buddy. I got all psyched to talk about Mike Lindell. I didn't even have any music queued up or anything. I mean, for crying out loud, you got me there, buddy. That's okay. Here, I'm going to just do this again. Hold on. Hey, on there, y'all. Here. Just play this in honor of Ben Murphy.
What's the matter with that cat there?
Must be full of reefer.
Full of reefer?
Yeah, man.
You mean that cat's high?
Sailing.
Sailing?
Sailing lightly.
Get away from here. Man, is that the reefer, man?
That's the reefer, man.
I believe he's losing his mind.
I think he's lost his mind.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Allman in the Morning Show. Featuring the Arrowhead Building Supply Studio and your phone calls 844-855-1380. Also starring Ben Murphy. Good morning, Ben.
Good morning this morning, Jamie.
Good morning this morning, Ben. Can you get me correct me on this again? It's Arrowhead Building Supply. It's America First, Missouri.
Mo.
See, America First, Mo.
America First Mo. We've been advised by a few people to redo the pack and just go with America First. Somebody else did America First Missouri on a Facebook thing, and you go to Google and America First Missouri, and you get a million different things. We wanted to identify with Missouri, but we have since converted our pack into a federal pack. We're a federal super pack, Jamie.
Nice.
Without a super donor. How about that?
What does that mean?
Well, that means we're, doing our best to raise money at $50 and $100 at a whack, and we've got rent to pay. And the idea is to stay relevant until this election heats up. Instead of shutting down completely and starting back up again, would have been very difficult. We led the the fight for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
In the first go round, but what's happening is, and I'm fearing that what's happening is what happened to the Tea Party going into the re-election of Donald Trump. The Republican establishment, a la Roy Blunt, they're going to waltz in and expect to ride the coattails of the greatest president we've ever had back into office, hoping to outlast him so that they can get back to business as usual, where the Clappers and the Brennans run the intelligence world, and the Rex Singfelds run the money world in this deal, and everybody's getting paid. But the grassroots, the blue-collar Democrats who came over, the hardworking men and women who build this country, who came over to support Donald Trump, who had it with a corrupt Democrat Party that threw the election, attempted to throw the election for Hillary Clinton, failed miserably, yet they won't give it up. So a lot of this stuff is distraction going on, and we're trying to stay relevant so that we can not be totally co-opted, as the Tea Party movement was, and that we can remain and be a beacon for Democrats, independents, and Republican independent thinkers alike to lead the charge once again to reelect the president.
That's a great comment you just made there, because I think you're so right, because you went through the Tea Party movement and you saw what happened there. And what's going to be critical is that we don't have people, for instance, in conservative media and conservative circles starting to try to buy into the establishment stuff.
Well, what'll happen?
We're seeing that a little bit of that with Roy Blunt and others who are suddenly believing that if they just kind of get squishy enough, they can maybe even water down the possibility that there will be strong Trump support. So I think you're right. I think we have to remember the task at hand, and we have to remember and keep our eye on the ball for 2020. And Ben Murphy, no better person to do that, no better group than America First Mo.
That's right.
.com to do it as well.
Good job,
Thanks for
Jamie.
stopping in, brother.
Love it, man.
As always, good to see you.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, man, you're the best. Coming up, Doug Giles and George Papadopoulos, too, on the way. It's Common Sense Radio.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. The newly released March employment report represents a big rebound from the month before. Employers added 196,000 jobs last month after adding only 20,000 positions in February. The unemployment rate holding near a 50-year low of 3.8%. Later today, President Trump will inspect a new stretch of border fencing along the U.S.-Mexico border at Calexico, California. A shocking case of road rage in Phoenix has left a 10-year-old girl dead. Police say the gunman followed the car carrying 10-year-old Summerbelle Brown and her family to their home. He then started shooting. Police still looking for the suspect. Stocks opening higher this morning following the latest jobs report. The Dow up about 82 points just moments after the opening bell, and the S&P 7 points higher. More details at srnnews.com.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Just a couple of slow spots, and we have one accident reported, 170 northbound. We've got a crash reported on the exit ramp to Airport Road. 270 westbound, 367 to West Florissant, just a slight delay there. 6440 eastbound, 170 to Big Bend is slowing up a little bit. We also have flooding still closing southbound 67 from the Mississippi River to the Missouri River, and southbound 67 sharing the northbound lane. Flooding still an issue. Traffic is sponsored by H&R Block. April 15th is right around the corner, and admit it, taxes are complicated this year. Lucky for you, H&R Block has the expertise you need. No one knows tax reform better than Block, and their tax pros will get you every credit, deduction, and dollar you deserve. Make an appointment or walk in today. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
1380 The Answer. Weather.
Mostly cloudy today, high 66. Partly cloudy as we head into the evening, low tonight 52. Rather cloudy and a little bit warmer for Saturday, high 73. Cloudy and mild Saturday night with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm around, low 60. Sunday, a thick cloud cover and warm with a shower or thunderstorm, high 74. I'm Madison Baggett with your St. Louis Metro forecast on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
Ladies and gents, time now to talk about MyPillow. And I know you hear me talk about it a lot, but I really want to make sure that everybody in St. Louis and beyond, anybody who's listening even on the stream, that you all are having a comfortable, beautiful night's sleep on a Mike Lindell and Company MyPillow. MyPillow.com/Jamie is going to be your ticket into a variety of different great deals. First of all, you have this awesome 4-pack where you're going to get the 2 MyPillows, and then you are also going to get the 2 to-go MyPillows. Those are the ones that you have to basically you can carry with you. So if you go to a place that doesn't have a nice pillow, you already have one you're traveling with, and you are getting free shipping all at the same time. Now, you also are getting a 30% discount on the most amazing Giza Dream Sheets. These are dream sheets made from cotton that is grown in the Middle East, right there along the Nile. And it's beautiful weather to grow cotton in, and you get the best cotton there is from that area. And so Mike Lindell puts the sheets together using that cotton. On top of that, people, and you're getting 30% off when you use my promo code, Jamie. On top of that, folks, Mike Lindell is one of us. He's one of the good guys. He's out there. He's the one who was a backer of the Unplanned movie and came to its defense on Twitter when they took its account down. So he's one of our guys. So I want you to support him as best you can. 800-964-3187. 800-964-3187. The promo code is Jamie, or mypillow.com/Jamie.
Hello, St. Louis. This is James Enstall, host of Geek to Me Radio, heard every Sunday at 1 p.m. right here on The Answer, and I have a mission for you.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
The next time you want to buy something from Amazon, go to geektomeradio.com first and click our Amazon affiliate link. Simply shop like you normally would, and when you check out, a small percentage will go to supporting the show. So remember, the next time you want to search Amazon for the latest Game of Thrones Blu-ray or Sonic screwdriver, click through from geektomeradio.com first.
This tape will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
Imagine doing one thing that gives you an entirely different perspective about your place in the world. Think it would be worth it? Dennis Prager here, inviting you to join me for a 10-day Stand with Israel tour, a tour through the land of Israel in December 2019. Come with me to get firsthand insight into Israel's fascinating past and promising future. Walk the ancient temple steps, sail on the Sea of Galilee, and so many more unforgettable moments. Return home inspired, renewed, and empowered. If you've ever dreamed of seeing Israel, this is your opportunity. With expert guides and important lectures at key sites, we'll be together in the comfort and safety of luxurious accommodations the whole time. Join me for a life-changing adventure to give you a renewed sense of purpose.
Join Dennis Prager and Mike Gallagher for an unforgettable guided tour through Israel this December 2nd through 11th. Book your trip now at theanswerstl.com. The Dana Show, this afternoon at 1. Now, more Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Chicken, nice fried chicken, barbecue chicken. Won't you send it down the line?
Say, everyone's talking about chicken. Chicken's a popular word, but anywhere you go, you're bound to find a chicken ain't nothing but a bird.
Good morning this morning, everybody. Welcome. You didn't know I had a nice, good, rich, healthy library of Cab Calloway, did you now? And I do. And he's right about that, too. Chicken ain't nothing but a bird. I don't understand the first person who actually decided it was a wise thing to do would be to eat a chicken, you know what I'm saying? That took some guts. Because you can't really see, you can't really tell there's really anything delicious inside of that. You know what I mean? Because it's got feathers all over it. You're like, if anything, you think it would just be a pain. Like, I'm not going to eat that because then I got to pluck it and do all that stuff. You know, like you think the first caveman or whoever did to eat a chicken. But I guess when you're hungry, you know what I'm saying? That's what you're going to do. That's what the deal. Hey, did you see Chris Matthews here praising the media? Listen to this.
All these news reports that some Mueller investigators believe that A.G. Barr buried alarming evidence in his 4-page letter, that perhaps these same Mueller investigators saw the evidence, say the evidence Barr left out, showed the president engaged in obstruction of justice, that the Trump presidential campaign was manipulated by Russian intelligence. It all paints a picture that the American people and future presidential candidates really need to see. President Trump and his toadies can speak petulantly and relentlessly about fake news and unfair partisanship. But the only facts we get through the stone wall of White House flackery is carried by public servants who will not sit quietly and by journalists ready to carry their truth into the grace of public light.
What does that mean? The grace of public light. Public servants, these guys? Have you watched CNN lately? Ladies and gentlemen, I know a public servant. He's down there in beautiful Texas, and his name is Doug Giles. Brother! What's going on, man?
I'm just bathing in the grace of, what do you say, the grace of marvelous light or some crap like that.
Who knows? It's the grace of public light or something. It's just, oh, man.
And you and I need to find out where Chris Matthews is getting his weed, because I want some of that, man.
Right on. I'm telling you.
Unbelievable.
Hey, listen, man, I got a little jealous on your behalf as I see both Rosie O'Donnell and what's-his-nuts doing the painting. They're painting now, and it's Jim Carrey and Rosie O'Donnell. They both are tweeting out like their paintings about how much they hate President Trump and all that kind of stuff, and I don't like that because the only painter I know with any kind of authority in the political commentariat is none other than Doug Giles, and plus Jim Carrey's a terrible painter.
Yeah, I used to love Jim Carrey, The Mask and Ace Ventura, and I think one of the smartest movies about the negative influence that the frickin' Babylonian idiot box television that was ever created. I think Cable Guy, it didn't get much accolades from the movie critics and stuff. I think that's a brilliant movie about how television, warped poor Chip. So big fan of Jim Carrey, always loved him. And then, man, I don't know what happened, but that dude frickin' stepped on a bag of Skittles or something. He's completely off his rocker. And I appreciate his utilizing art to make statements and stuff, but, some of his conclusions, they're nuttier than a squirrel turd.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you.
And here's another thing. Here's another thing that I really appreciate because I was around some smarmy art people. So I do a lot of Trump paintings. I've got my Ocasio-Cortez sitting on Soros' lap as a dummy, and he's the ventriloquist. And I was around these smarmy art people the other day, Jamie, you're saying they're like, oh, so you've sold out by doing political artwork. I go, wait a minute, what are you talking about? Artwork has always been strongly political. I'm talking about from the Medicis to to the Renaissance, the Raphaelites, Diego Rivera for communism, Frida Kahlo. I mean, and then all of a sudden now, because my stuff's pro-Trump, all of a sudden I'm a whore. Excuse me. Yeah. First of all, my stuff is selling at least. Yours doesn't sell at all. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, and you're so right. I'm glad you point that out historically because all those names you mentioned I'm more than familiar with in terms of whether it be patronage art or whatever. It was always, I mean, art was in the absence of television and other forms of communication was always a means of expression in a variety of different ways and sometimes was the only way to express certain beliefs or certain political beliefs. So I think that's
yeah. Look at Picasso with Guernica. Look at Goya. Those people got it, and the ones that he jackhammered or they jackhammered with their paintings message. Although some of it, it's been buried a tad. It's not as overt as some of my stuff. They were so incensed that they wanted to kill him, and nations fought over their art pieces.
Yeah. Yeah, and plus the folk art. I mean, I think folk art is so cool. I mean, I think I've seen left versions of it and right versions of it, and I actually think it's really awesome. I mean, I think what you do technically could be called folk art, right?
Yeah, it's kind of Norman Rockwell meets Donald Trump and Liberty and Mad Magazine all in one whack. You wait till you see the painting of Beto O'Rourke that I'm about to do. He's not going to like it, I guarantee that. But here's something. Here's my challenge to those up in St. Louis. If you're into art, if you're a gallery owner in particular, I dare you to put my Trump art in your gallery. I had this one gallery say, we're not going to do it. You know, we just don't want to create a stir. It's like, you're missing the whole point of art. That's what art does. It creates stirs. It makes you think. It fish slaps you. It makes you giggle. It makes you happy. It makes you mad. I don't know where these – listen, everybody's turned into a PC little dandy. You know, the church is you know, just – nice and soft. You get culture. You can't say this or that. And then you have the artist, and the artist should be on the forefront of perfecting the middle finger to everything that strangulates life, liberty, and the pursuit of happy. But no, Jamie, we're going to do little kitty paintings. Yeah. We're going to do flowers. I'm not disparaging that. But to me, man, to have that tip of the spear, whether it's in rock and roll or sculpture, two-dimensional fine art that I'm doing and stuff like that, that's the stuff that moves and shakes people.
Yeah, well, no, I'm sure they might have also said to you, come back when you have a crucifix in a jar of urine. Then maybe we can talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they won't give you millions from the National Endowment of Art.
Right,
you know what's weird is that I did an exhibit. For those who are not hip to my artwork, it's either animals or political. I've been to Africa like 20-plus times. Very enthusiastic about how Trump's a wrecking crane to the right and the left, and it's probably been the best gift that aside from Reagan, that our country's ever had of late. And so I've got a lot of paintings of African animals. I'm doing the show at Dallas Safari Club, big show, lots of people. And I said, you know what? I'm going to bring my Trump wall painting. Just see what happens. Big-ass painting, 4 by 4 feet. Trump on a Harley. On a gas tank, it says Rebel. And behind him, the border wall. And so you know what happens? So this thing is about hunting. It's about safaris. Bro, I shut that place down. Everybody taking pictures next to Trump on the motorcycle.
Yeah. So you've been
had nothing to do with hunting or safari. And everybody's just like, oh my gosh, man. And it was already sold, or it would have sold immediately. And they're taking pictures of that and next to the Trumpinator. I'll be back 2020.
Do you do T-shirts that have that art on it?
Yeah, we've got the T-shirts over at keepandbear.com, and a lot of these images we've got for T-shirts. But
nice,
prints, man.
Yeah, I know. The prints are better.
If you want to trigger your little snowflake relatives or upset your socialist son, just buy a little print, put it up there on the end table, and watch him go nuclear.
Yeah, I know. And you mentioned you've been to Africa like 20 times. I want to direct your attention to, and I'm sure you're familiar with the song Africa, and I'm sure that you probably are more than happy to kind of, sing that every once in a while and really get into it. But I want to direct your attention, though, to one of the best versions I've heard in a long time, and that's brought to you by Bob and Bev. They're on the YouTube channels. I guarantee when you're out on safari, I dare you to pull out your iPhone and start putting this on there. It's Bob and Bev anyway. Yeah, that was a long way to go.
Yeah, that's one of the root causes of erectile dysfunction right there, bro.
Dude,
speaking of erectile dysfunction, the Joe Biden stuff. I don't know how much time we got left, but first of all, it's weird. Yes, it looks like he's lecherous. However, I've got to take umbrage, Jamie, with the girls. I didn't personally train them, but I had my daughters, as you well know, enroll in Gracie Valenti Jiu-Jitsu from a very young age. Now they're the first 2 female black belts from that discipline in the world. If somebody was going to, if some Joe Biden started sticking their nose in their hair or starting to creep on their shoulders or put their hands on their thigh, they would firmly tell them, back off, give them the, go blank yourself look with their eyes. They'd remove the hand, and if he took it any further, they're going to put him in an arm bar. Girls, you ought to tell these guys who creep on you, just give them a heavy signal, don't touch me, and if they push it forward, then rack them. Knock their boys right up into their stomach, do something. And that's why I think girls should, forego piano lessons and ballet and learn how to kick some righteous ass, and that'll put a lot of these people down, man. Can you imagine Joe Biden? He comes up to this 14-year-old girl, and she's got her purple or brown belt in jiu-jitsu, and he all of a sudden, starts groping her hand and trying to move it towards his butt or whatever he's trying to do, and she lays him on the ground. To me, that would be pure gold.
Yeah.
And girls, you got to quit being the victim. I mean, some of these girls are like, well, he put his hand on my thigh and he didn't move it. Well, why don't you pick up your hand and move it for him, and stand up and walk away? It's such. And again, I'm not a pro Joe Biden guy, but come on, girls, this is insanity.
Yeah, well,
freaking let him have it.
Well, and plus, at that point, then you're saving other women down the line, because the one time you do that to a dude, he's not doing that again to somebody else. Usually. I mean,
yeah, no, the email will, the message will fly quickly. I told Regis one time I had to leave her in Vegas, and we were at a Safari Club International show. I said, listen, man, if there's this little punk from Tanzania that kept giving her crap and stuff. I said, if he tries to grope you, and she was like 19 or 20 at that time, I said, just frickin' lay him out, Regis. You know how to lay him out. You can take this guy. He's drunk all the time. If he tries to touch your butt or do anything untoward to you, I'm telling you, Reach, I don't care if you dress in a mini skirt or an evening gown, frickin' throttle him in front of everybody.
Yeah. Well, Doug also is the author.
And I will buy you a rifle. I'll buy you a new car. Just make sure your girlfriend's filming it, because I want to show people that you don't jack, with my daughters.
Right on.
And they know how to defend themselves and lay his butt out. And I think, again, with these creepy politicians, left, right, center, we need some girls just to do that just once. They touch the wrong girl's butt, and she pulls out the dragon claws, and he's got catch-scratch fever over his face.
Well, the author of Raising Righteous and Rowdy Girls happens to be Doug Giles, so you can check that out at ClashDaily.com. Speaking of Joe, it's interesting, too. It's kind of rich also to see how the left is kind of the one part leading the charge against him. And you have a great post up at ClashDaily.com, which is, Wes put this together. Creepy Joe Biden gets fish slapped by 2016 anti-Trump ad. And so there's this ad that you have on here. It's 1 minute and 10 seconds. You listen to this real quickly. This is the Joe Biden Creepy Joe ad.
It happened also suddenly, very unexpectedly, out of nowhere. I feel Joe Biden put his hands on my shoulders, get up very close to me from behind, lean in, smell my hair, and then plant a slow kiss on the top of my head. To have the Vice President of the United States do that to me so unexpectedly and just kind of out of nowhere, it was just shocking.
The little kids are watching this on TV.
You don't expect that kind of intimate behavior. You don't expect that kind of intimacy from someone so powerful and someone who you just have no relationship whatsoever to touch you and to feel you and to be so close to you in that way.
So the ad is showing this.
Jamie, here's bro, there is nobody. If I was a girl, I'm not. But even though I do like Kate Hudson movies, there's nobody that powerful in this world. There's nobody that, if I was a chick, that could creep on me like that. No one. I don't give a flip who it is. An angel, Moses comes up and he starts smelling my hair and creeping on me and doing long, wet kisses. I'm going to throw him over my shoulder. Nobody's going to do that to me. Come on, girls. This is, again, is Joe creepy? Absolutely. Should she? I mean, did you hear her count that down? You know, he grabbed me.
Oh,
then
yeah.
His nose is in my hair. Then he's wet kissed me. Headbutt him. Just give him a backwards headbutt. Come on, man. There's nobody that powerful that you should allow them to do any of that crap to you. If it's your parent, if it's your granddad, if it's your weird Chester the molester uncle, if it's some powerful politician, if it's a priest, or if it's a pastor, whoop his ass right there on the spot.
Well, keep in mind, this ad that you just heard, it features two children, and they're just watching all this unfold on TV. And Wes, and you guys point out there at ClashDaily.com, if that looks familiar to you, then remember the 2016 ad where they did the Hillary Clinton role model ad with President Trump in it, and now Biden's being stung by the same tactic. It's unbelievable, but it's rich. And you're right, buddy. You are right.
I tell you, Jamie, I love how the left is. Can you imagine if? Remember when Donald, during the debates with the Hildebeest, when he would just kind of shadow her and just get kind of close in proximity when she would be lurching around the stage and stuff, and he would just be kind of following her and stuff? They were saying that that's intimidation. They were saying that that's sexism. They were saying that that was creepy. And now you got Biden who's groping these girls. I mean, and just doing weird stuff. And you can tell that they're, they're taken aback by his behavior. And now it's like, oh, hey, he's just warm. He's just warm. Hey, I'm warm too. I hug you, Jamie. I hug people all the time, but I don't do it for 10 minutes. I don't stick my nozzle into your hair follicles to see if you've been, shampooing with Tresemme or something like that. But now you look at the environment. I'm kind of there halfway with Pelosi to do these, straight arm handshakes and just leave it at that, because you don't want to be accused of, sexual molestation because you gave a girl a high five.
Yeah, and that video you have, that one video up there at ClashDaily.com, I actually haven't seen some of those videos of Joe with these little girls. I didn't even know. I remember the one with Chris Coons' daughter, but I didn't. There are at least 4 or 5 other videos on that reel that I don't think I've ever seen before, and it's just really vile, I got to tell you. It's really something. All right, Doug. Hey, man.
Yeah.
Have a great rest of your week, brother. So you've got a, what is it, a safari convention in Dallas this weekend?
No, I was referencing one.
A while back. Okay.
Last year.
That sounds like
hey,
fun.
Thanks for getting me angry, man.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. You fire everybody up. They love it. So if you want more of this.
It's a gift, brother. It's a gift.
I know, brother. It is. ClashDaily.com is where you can find it. And also DougGiles.art is where you can see some of his awesome art that we were just talking about earlier. So thanks, brother. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, buddy. Stay rowdy.
All right, man. You too. It's Common Sense Radio.
Call the show at 844-855-1380 and interact with Jamie on the calltammy.com listener line. That's 844-855-1380. More Allman in the Morning next on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer. KXFN St. Louis. K287BY St. Louis. Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
We're still holding on to an accident here at the tail end of the rush hour. 270 westbound is stop and go from Bell Fountain to New Halls Ferry. Left lane still blocked with that crash. 100 southbound in downtown Alton. You have a right lane blocked with flooding at 67. And southbound 67 closed from the Mississippi River to the Missouri River with flooding. Southbound 67 traffic sharing those northbound lanes. 270 northbound Big Bend to Manchester, a little bit tight. 6440 eastbound McKnight to Big Bend, you're backed up, and westbound it's Hampton to Laclede Station. Traffic is sponsored by H&R Block. April 15th is right around the corner, and admit it, taxes are complicated this year. Lucky for you, H&R Block has the expertise you need. No one knows tax reform better than Block, and their tax pros will get you every credit, deduction, and dollar you deserve. Make an appointment or walk in today. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3, The Answer.
Ladies and gents, let me tell you something about Tammy Mitchell Hines and Company, and let me tell you something about one of the groundbreaking elements of her home selling adventure. And she is, of course, the #1 independent real estate office in southwestern Illinois. So, and independence means everything and should mean everything to you because there's no big company over her kind of dictating how she deals with your home selling or home buying. So you have that going for you because sometimes the cookie cutter approaches don't work for everybody. And in fact, rarely do they. And so she doesn't have to mess around with that. It's all Tammy Mitchell Hines and Company all the time. That's all it's about. And as part of the emblem of her passion for what she does and her passion for helping the homeowner in general, is she was one of the first in the area to offer a moving truck. She takes care of the moving truck for you. And you're thinking, wow, that's pretty interesting because it's one of the more expensive sometimes elements of moving is the moving truck, obviously. And she provides it. And it's such a great idea that, of course, other real estate people have followed suit and copied her, which is a good thing because then everybody has access to it. But nobody's going to get, aside from the moving truck, the better service from Tammy Mitchell Hines and Company. So they're selling a home every 30 hours. They're not worrying about what the price of your home is or whatever it happens to be. They're taking all comers there at Tammy Mitchell Hines and Company. And thank you, Tammy, for sponsoring the listener line. Call Tammy.com.
Employees, are you struggling to pay your bills because you no longer can afford your health insurance? Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. With Obamacare premiums skyrocketing, higher deductibles, and shrinking networks, let me introduce you to Dryden Camus Insurance Agency as the answer, the solution. Dryden Camus Insurance Agency has non-Obamacare ACA-compliant plans that do not fund abortion. There's no enrollment period, and you don't have to pay for expensive extras like pediatric dentistry or maternity care. Contact Joyce at Dryden Camus Insurance Agency and start saving up to 60%. Call 877-695-0245. That's 877-695-0245. Or just go to kddi-ins.com. Cut through the confusion and save money with Dryden Camus Insurance Agency, serving Missouri and Illinois. This is the answer. This is the solution. Dryden Camus Insurance Agency. Just go to kddi-ins.com.
Hey, want to talk with Jamie? Call 844-855-1380. 844-855-1380. And interact with Common Sense Radio. This is Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Good morning this morning. Coming up, I got to get this right because Ben told me, because he knows a little bit about Greeks. He told me I was mispronouncing it. George Papadopoulos. I didn't recall. I thought I had that down. George Papadopoulos. He's going to be on with us in just a little bit with his new book and an inside scoop on the deep state coming up.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. After taking a breather in February, hiring rebounded in March.
The Labor Department says U.S. employers added 196,000 jobs last month, evidence that many companies still want to hire despite signs of a slowing economy. The unemployment rate stayed at 3.8%, close to the lowest level in nearly 50 years.
That's correspondent Mike Hempen. Boeing is apologizing for 2 deadly crashes of 737 MAX 8 jetliners. Boeing CEO Dennis Muhlenberg says the company is working to improve the performance of the plane's automatic anti-stall system.
Pilots have told us erroneous activation of the MCAS function can add to what is already a high workload environment. It's our responsibility to eliminate this risk. We own it, and we know how to do it.
A number of lawsuits are pending in the crashes in Indonesia and Ethiopia. President Trump will get an up-close look at the situation on the southern border. He goes to California today for a trip to the U.S.-Mexico border.
The president will visit a new section of the border wall being built in Calexico, California, a border town about 120 miles east of San Diego.
A lot of it's being built right now. A lot of it's being signed up right now by different contractors. It's moving along very nicely.
After threatening to close the border because of an influx of illegal migrants, the president has eased off that idea and is now giving Mexico a 1-year warning to stop the flow of migrants and illegal drugs. Greg Clugston, the White House.
Post-bankruptcy, Sears ready to open its first batch of smaller stores. It will focus on appliances, mattresses, and home services. 3 stores at first, called Sears Home and Life. They'll be opening Memorial Day weekend. On Wall Street, the Dow is up about 52 points. The S&P ahead 9. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
We are looking at quite a few more delays out there. Now, the accident on 170 northbound on that exit ramp, that has been cleared. Everything gone there. 270 northbound does now have a delay. 44 to Manchester, southbound Page to Ladue. And westbound 270 Old Halls Ferry to West Florissant slows. 44 eastbound Elm to Laclede Station Road. You'll see some delays. Now, we did have an accident on 55 southbound before the 5544 underpass. That has cleared, but still backed up to 64. And traffic is sponsored by H&R Block. April 15th is right around the corner, and admit it, taxes are complicated this year. Lucky for you, H&R Block has the expertise you need. No one knows tax reform better than Block, and their tax pros will get you every credit, deduction, and dollar you deserve. Make an appointment or walk in today. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
1380 The Answer. Weather.
Mostly cloudy today, high 66. Partly cloudy as we head into the evening, low tonight 52. Rather cloudy and a little bit warmer for Saturday, high 73. Cloudy and mild Saturday night with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm around low 60. Sunday, a thick cloud cover and warm with a shower or thunderstorm, high 74. I'm Madison Baggett with your St. Louis Metro forecast on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
Rick Pogue here with Arrowhead Building Supply, the region's #1 specialty exterior building supplier. Arrowhead has the widest range of exterior products, from the most economical and commodity items to our highest-end outside elegance collection. If you need a contractor, Arrowhead supplies products to hundreds of the best contractors and builders in the business. Call us for a contractor referral and rest easy. The Arrowhead Cube Home Visualizer tool means you can upload an actual photo of your home and change it with just a touch of your finger. Now you can be 100% confident in your selections before they are installed on your home. Our product showrooms are the largest and most beautiful in the industry. We make it simple to experience a full range of siding, roofing, window, door, deck, and even stone options for your home or business. Check us out at arrowheadbuildingsupply.com or visit an Arrowhead showroom near you today in St. Peters, Missouri, Peebly, Missouri, and Fairview Heights, Illinois. Arrowhead Building Supply. Building supplies for building success.
arrowheadbuildingsupply.com.
Alexa, play The Answer St. Louis Radio.
Okay, playing The Answer St. Louis Radio.
Siri, play The Answer St. Louis.
Okay, playing The Answer St. Louis.
Okay, Google, play The Answer St. Louis.
Streaming The Answer St. Louis Radio.
Hey, everybody, the Happiness Hour on the Dennis Prager Show, the second hour every Friday.
Do you have a digital assistant helping to keep your life organized? Ask Alexa, Siri, or Google to play The Answer St. Louis Radio.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, the inventor of MyPillow, and like all of you out there, I had problems sleeping. Pillows would go flat, I would flip-flop all night long, I would wake up with a sore neck, maybe a headache, or feel like I needed a nap even though I slept 8 hours. When I invented MyPillow, I wanted it to where you could move the patented fill to give you the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of sleep position. MyPillow will get you into that deep sleep faster, and you will stay there longer. It's not about how much time we spend in bed, it's about how much of that quality sleep we get. I do all of my own manufacturing right here in the United States. I have a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry MyPillow, and I give you a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. And here's my best offer ever.
Hey, Movement listeners, it's Ed Martin. MyPillow is now offering 50% off their 4-pack special. Go to MyPillow.com and use the code MARTIN, or call 800-964-3187 and use that promo code MARTIN. That's 50% off MyPillow's 4-pack special when you use the code MARTIN.
This hour of Allman in the Morning is brought to you in part by Dr. Anna Smith. Come see what your smile can be at Dentistry with TLC.
Common Sense Radio with Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
Give me land, lots of land, and the starry skies above. Don't fence me in. Let me ride through the wide open country that I love. Don't fence me in. Let me be by myself in the evening breeze. Listen to the murmur of the cottonwood trees. Send me off forever, but I ask you please. Don't fence me in. Don't fence me in. Just turn me loose, let me straddle my
morning this morning, everybody. Welcome to Common Sense Radio at Allman in the Morning. The phone lines are open. The call, Tammy.com, real estate listener line, 844-855-1380, and happy opening day. In just a few, I'm going to get to a fairly disturbing baseball story, and that is about this dude in Baltimore who hasn't hit one time this entire season after hitting 168 last season. This Chris Davis guy, he's in the fourth year of a $161 million contract with Baltimore. And, I always sympathize with guys like that because it's like, man, because then it starts to creep into your head and it's like, whoa. It's like the Rick Ankiel thing, where he couldn't, for some reason, you remember when he was pitching and the ball would go way over the backstop and all that stuff, and it was just a miserable thing. Rick's a great guy and back in baseball to a certain degree, but I always have sympathy for these guys. But they don't in Baltimore. They're booing him now. Hey, I don't know whether you saw the video before it was actually pulled. What happened is the Griffin News there at Missouri Western University had to pull this video for legal reasons, and there was a bunch of death threats and threats of violence coming out of this whole thing. And it was yet another incident on a college campus. And they call it a disagreement in the mainstream news, but it wasn't a disagreement. It was harassment, as you have typically seen, of people wearing Make America Great Again hats. That's what basically, and the reason why it's happening is because the news media, the media, and the enemies of true decency have declared that the Make America Great Again hat is somehow racist and a symbol of this, and therefore anybody wearing one is open to being harmed. That's just how it goes, and of course it's following suit. So this person on the college campus, this black guy, decided to confront an individual wearing that and saying, I don't want to see that. And of course these are all a bunch of coddled left-wing babies who are raised by coddled left-wing parents, and they go to college universities and act as if they run the joint and they could dictate what people do and what people wear. That's upbringing. That's breeding. That's where that's coming from. And it's all reinforced by what they're seeing in the news media. Spencer Brown is with me now. He is with the Young America's Foundation, YAF. These guys do some really great work. And Spencer Brown, you guys are always looking for opportunities to make sure that free speech and free expression on college campuses is respected. And this is a case, once again, where it wasn't. How you doing? Thanks for joining the show, my friend.
Hey, of course. Thank you so much for having me.
So what's been going on? And the biggest question I have is, at some point, it's always the buck stopping at the university level, in my opinion. It doesn't seem sometimes like the universities themselves are doing enough to teach and school these people in the error of their ways. Are you finding that?
Well, yeah, that's exactly right. I think if you look at where the problems in situations like this happening on college campuses lie, it's definitely with the administrators, but also with the professors to some extent. And so what you've seen is they've created sort of this bubble where they're trying to, like you said, coddle these students and make sure that they're never confronted with, maybe uncomfortable ideas or anything that might make them feel, not safe and warm and fuzzy. And obviously that's not the point of a university, and that's not what they should be doing. Universities are where they should be free to think and learn, and they should be open to debate ideas, and there should be very lively but respectful discussion. And that's just not what we see anymore. And instead, you see them creating safe spaces where they literally have bubbles and Play-Doh for grown adults to use if they can't handle somebody's ideas. You see some schools actually have therapy alpacas now that they bring in for students to play with, presumably. It's gotten so absurd that most people probably wouldn't believe it if they walked on a campus today.
Yeah. I mean, I saw yet another one where there was an individual who, I think this happened out west someplace, and they were at some kind of campus confab, and he was wearing the hat, and the woman virtually took it off and went to the office to complain about it. It's like, this is some main admissions officer to complain about it, and it's amazing. And again, it's all in the manner with which the school approaches this. And also, by the way, I was a little taken aback by the fact that this was called a disagreement. in the news. That's not a disagreement.
No, not at all. I mean, that's kind of the classic, just the way that the media will always make it sound like anything a conservative does, is jeopardizing the republic or, triggering World War III. Whereas if somebody on the left does anything, it's like, oh, there was a misunderstanding. We had a disagreement. There was some sort of a lack of understanding on someone's part. And that's what we see all the time on college campuses where, Young America's Foundation, like you mentioned, has been working for decades to make sure that First Amendment rights and, just education as a practice is maintained in colleges and universities. But no matter what happens, it's never the left's fault. And so what you saw, even with people, like Ben Shapiro, who we've been taking to campuses around the country, anytime there's a protest that turns violent against Ben, they don't really cover it. But if there's ever a conservative that does anything to protest or object to a leftist speaker, they act like it's some sort of unhinged, crazy person. And it does get a little tiring, but, I think Americans see through that more now than they used to.
No doubt about it, especially when Americans who have children at school, at college, and they hear about it all the time. Now, when you all go on the campuses, like, how do you do this? How do you do what you do? Do you have you had trouble doing presentations on college campuses, or how do you actually articulate the need to protect individual speech rights, et cetera, on college campuses?
Yeah, so most of these situations originate out of one of our campus activist groups. So Young Americans for Freedom, like I mentioned, we've been around since the 1960s. Those are our YAF chapters. And they work with us to bring in these leading conservatives like Ben Shapiro and Katie Pavlich and Christina Hoff Sommers. And what we find, unfortunately, is that these events get either shut down by administrators or, some sort of obstacles put in their way. And so then we work with those bold students to make sure that they're able to still have the same rights that their liberal peers enjoy on their campuses. And so we usually do that through one of two ways. We either sometimes have to sue the school, like we did against UC Berkeley, which we just recently beat in federal court. We also have lawsuits right now pending against the University of Minnesota and the University of Florida. Or in some cases, we found that media pressure also works. And so that's kind of my main job is I travel to these campuses and make sure that, while they don't want to cover it, to make sure that the media does cover what's happening. Because what we found is that administrations really don't like having negative news attention because then that affects their trustees, it affects their alumni, it affects, potential students looking at the school. And so it's really just making sure that we hold them accountable and make sure that people know what an administration is doing, that they're not allowed to just hide behind the massive bureaucracies that exist on so many campuses today.
Spencer Brown with the Young America's Foundation, YAF. Spencer, how was the guy who was, forgive me for not knowing this for sure, but what about, was that guy who was punched on the campus out in California, I believe it was he a YAF guy or was he from another organization?
He was from a different organization. Okay. I believe he was recruiting. He worked for a different one and was recruiting for yet a third organization. But that sort of went, just beyond the pale of what we've seen at Berkeley before. We've had protesters try to shut down our events. We've obviously seen the protesters there, the radical Antifa group, basically burning campus down. But this is one of the first times we've seen, a just outright act of physical violence. But it shows, I think, sort of the problem with what professors and administrators have taught students today, and that is that ideas they disagree with somehow pose an existential threat to their personal safety. And so you see them rationalizing either protesting or punching people as being totally fine and acceptable to do because they think that they're doing, the right thing or the noble thing. And they sort of wear this intolerance as like a badge of honor now. And it's just pathetic that instead of, having ideological diversity and the free and open exchange of ideas, these administrators, professors, and now students just sort of act as thought police in keeping, unfortunately, mainly conservatives off their campuses.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, interestingly enough, when remember, of course, you probably do, the Melissa Click incident on University of Missouri's campus.
I sure do.
and how crazy odd that was. Like, it made big news because she was just so overtly crushing free speech and so overtly just being so tyrannical. But it turns out that an incident like that, maybe not with somebody from the faculty, but maybe from students, an incident like that is almost a weekly occurrence here now in the United States on college campuses.
That's exactly right. Absolutely, yeah. I think, it's a rare day where we at Young America's Foundation don't get a call from a student somewhere saying, like, hey, my school just said this. Is that okay? And we're like, obviously, no, that's not okay. They can't shut you down or charge you, exorbitant security fees just because of your point of view. And I think the interesting thing in the Melissa Click and Mizzou situation is right after that happened, we worked with the conservative students there to bring Ben Shapiro in and speak, and sort of we built it as, we're going to restore sanity. Young America's Foundation and Ben Shapiro are going to bring actual facts, not feelings, to your campus. And that was sort of one of those really consequential events where out of that, we've taken Ben Shapiro, now to 50-plus campuses in the years since. But I think what's interesting to look at is see what has happened to Mizzou. And their student enrollment rates have dropped. They've had to close some of their dormitories. They've had to lease some of their buildings to outside groups. And I think that's a really rare case where we saw actual consequences follow an incident like that. And I think, we hope to see more schools held accountable in that sort of way. And that's why we continue to fight with our students to make sure that they are able to expose these situations and hopefully, keep schools from just getting away and acting as if it's business as usual whenever they've completely shut down the First Amendment rights of an entire class of students. Of course, that would be conservatives.
Right, and certainly you had to have applauded, as I did, when President Trump said, and others chimed in as well, that, okay, you have an incident where you're barring someone's free speech. We're going to pull your public funding. There's no reason why taxpayers ought to be supporting a school or an environment where free speech and elements of the Constitution are just simply thrown out the door.
Yeah, I think, we saw it sort of as a natural extension of Young America's Foundation's work, because that's the kind of stuff we've been doing for years, to make sure that either through lawsuits or through public pressure, these schools are required to respect the First Amendment rights of all students. And the really important part of this executive order is that it sort of flips the responsibility so that way it's not up to students to have to go through all the work of, filing a federal lawsuit or fighting in the press to get their rights respected. Now it's on the schools to prove that they actually are defending the First Amendment and allowing it to be exercised freely on their campus. And I'm really interested to see, what sort of teeth get put on this executive order by the federal agencies that disperse those research funds. And I definitely think there are going to be a lot of schools in the news because they're being looked at by the federal government for this sort of thing, because we see it all the time. Public schools, private schools, it just never stops. And this month alone, YAF has more than 40 campus lectures across the country. And so there's going to be a lot of opportunities for schools to either prove themselves as supporting the First Amendment rights of all students, but I'm worried that there will also be some cases where they just completely trample on those rights.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and that's you raise a really important point, and that's where I think our vigilance ought to be there to help YAF. And this is where, okay, it's one thing to have an executive order, but then you go deep into the deep state bureaucracy and others. The key is whether or not they're going to enforce it or not. And that's going to be the key. And I think that's where you guys are doing great work in terms of putting pressure on these people to follow through on the executive order. So it's not enough just to have one. You got to have people who are supporting it. So, Spencer Brown, thank you so much for what you guys do. If you all want to help Young America's Foundation, it's YAF.org. And, of course, they deserve all the support that you could possibly give them, sending them a check or doing whatever just to kind of support their movements, because it's not cheap to make sure they're running around evangelizing for free speech in our Constitution and decency. So, Spencer Brown, thanks a ton, buddy.
Of course. Thank you.
All right. That is Spencer Brown with Young America's Foundation. We'll be back.
More Allman in the Morning coming up on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer. Joe Walsh explains what Mueller was supposed to do.
He had a very narrow charge. Our democracy was attacked. Find out, Bob Mueller, exactly what Russia did, and as best as you can, find out if anybody in America helped Russia. That was all Robert Mueller was charged with looking at.
The Joe Walsh Radio Program. Weeknights at 8 on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer. Breaking news. Stability Talk.
Good morning this morning, and welcome to the All in the Morning Show. Brought to you in part by my friend Matthew Mitchell and the Matthew Mitchell Allstate Agency. And I was just thinking, Eden is 14. He's a far cry away. Seemingly 2 years is a long time from driving. But one of the things that's always kind of a tax on the economies of parents is trying to insure their young driver. That's been kind of a thing in the insurance industry. But when you're with Matthew Mitchell and the Matthew Mitchell Allstate Agency, and you're working with a company that is the number one publicly traded insurance company in the United States of America with the largest portfolio of anybody, they don't have to really nickel and dime you to death on the insurance for your young person. And that's another example of how Matthew Mitchell and the Matthew Mitchell Allstate Agency actually will be there for you and can push a few buttons here and there and have wiggle room when it comes to your insurance plans. So whether it be the young driver, whether it be the home, whether it be the auto, or even for that matter, the life, there are always ways they can move things around to make things work for you. It's why, for instance, you get low premiums and low deductibles all at the same time with Matthew, because they can do that. They have the portfolio, they have the ability, and they have the charter to go ahead and make things work for you. That's why Allstate is as great as it is. And Matthew, which is with his team, 70 years of combined experience in the insurance business, and so you just can't beat it with that kind of personal service from Matthew Mitchell and the Matthew Mitchell Allstate Agency. Check it out on the web. It's on the phone. It's 855-QUOTE-ME. That's 855-QUOTE-ME.
Communication is the key to building any business. 1380 AM and 105.3 FM, The Answer, can be your communication key. The microphone that voices your business message from the stage of your own radio show, defining you as the expert in your line of work. The stage that brings your brand to a solid awareness, place, and position in the vast community of customers listening here in St. Louis. The broadcast professionals here will help your show develop, building you, your company, and your customer base with and through an affordable on-air and online media distribution. Get to theanswerstl.com. Click Contact Us. Theanswerstl.com. Contact us. Do so and then look for a call from sales manager Lori Vernier. Then build your business with your very own radio show on 1380 AM and 105.3 FM. The Answer.
Good morning this morning. Okay, time now for the button push of the Proctor Motorized Drapery. That's not really a song. I just made it up. I know you love it, though, because I really have a knack for that. Yes, this is the James Bond drapery that was installed by Michael Proctor just out of the goodness of his heart. I didn't have to pay a dime for this because he just wanted to show you just how awesome the motorized shade really is, ladies and gentlemen. And man, is this amazing. So here's the deal. It opens, it shuts. You can do it in your home. You can do it in your office, whatever it happens to be, and you're going to love it. It's just another example of the convenience that Michael will add to anything you need. And the convenience also being in the formulation of 7 days a week he's available to you, or the convenience of being his the interior designer. So he's an interior designer for you. So you don't need to spend the extra money on somebody to come in and tell you what you need because Michael has the eye right there. And he has, of course, the mobile design unit. Another convenience because he's right up to your doorstep. Again, 7 days a week. I don't know whether you were able to see the billboards out there. Phil, have you seen the billboards with me on a? I've never been on a billboard before. And I feel like I'm famous now. You know, I'm on a Michael Proctor Drapery billboard. My picture is on there, right off of 40. Everybody go to the baseball game today is going to see me up there. And he supports the show. He has 1380, 105.3, The Answer on there, Allman in the Morning, on Michael Proctor's billboard. That's what and again, he's just doing that because, first of all, he loves the show. Secondly, he's a great conservative. Thirdly, he absolutely appreciates the business I send him. And fourthly, he's a good friend of mine. And fifthly, what did I say? He supports the show. And sixthly, he's an amazing dude, passionate about what he does. So I appreciate that, Michael, very much. Proctor spelled like doctor. It's proctordrapery.com.
America's First News with Matt Ray gets you up to speed mornings from 4 to 6, right before Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
and a long
jacket.
You know, earlier I almost just freaked out. I don't want to call attention to this, but Doug Giles mentioned, the ED thing. I think, dude, did you read my contract before I went on the air here? It's the one thing Salem Media, well, not one, but a few things, Salem Media stands for. It's obviously a Christian-based company and a great company and have supported many conservative ideas. They just say a couple of things we don't want you to do, though, We're just kind of like we're a family show and that kind of thing, and we don't want you to talk about like bodily functions, that kind of stuff. And so I'm thinking, Doug, thanks a ton for that. Look at me just calling attention to it now. I'm getting myself in trouble, but I didn't say it. I'm just telling you. So I got to remind Doug. It's like, dude, don't do that anymore. It's not. I mean, listen, the Salem Media allows me on the air. It's not like they're prudes or anything. They knew what they were getting when they got me on the show, but still, you don't want to exactly push it. You know what I mean? You see Chuck Todd? I love how the news media and the mainstream media suddenly makes these small but important admissions. This is Chuck Todd basically saying that, yeah, okay, so we are playing a little bit of telephone with our sources. Listen to this joker.
Begin tonight with the firestorm ignited.
Oops, sorry.
By news first reported by the New York Times, then the Washington Post, which a U.S. official later confirmed to NBC News. And it's the following, that some members of the special counsel Robert Mueller's team believe the Attorney General Bill Barr downplayed the evidence against the president on obstruction. This is how the evidence against Mr. Trump was characterized in all of these reports, which, by the way, are all based on anonymous sources. To the Times, it was, quote, more damaging for the president than Mr. Barr explained. To the Post, it was alarming and significant. And to us here at NBC News, it was compelling. But, folks, we preached caution when Barr told us what Mueller's evidence really meant. So we're going to preach caution in this case as well, and for the same reason. We still have not seen a single complete sentence from this report.
So what he's saying, which is odd for a mainstream member of the media, is that let's not do what we've been cautioning against before because we haven't seen this thing. We don't know whether it's really alarming or significant or compelling. So even a blind squirrel finds a nut, and Chuck Todd just did.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. After taking a bit of a breather in February, hiring rebounded in March, with employers adding 196,000 jobs last month. That was up sharply from the 20,000 jobs added in February. The unemployment rate hovering around a 50-year low, 3.8%. Boeing is apologizing for 2 deadly crashes of 737 MAX 8 jetliners. The Boeing CEO says the company is working to improve the performance and the safety of the plane's automatic anti-stall system. A number of lawsuits now pending in the crashes that occurred in Indonesia and Ethiopia. President Trump now on his way to California. He'll visit a section of the U.S. border with Mexico, inspect some new fencing that has gone up in Calexico recently. Wall Street, the Dow up 31 points, the S&P 10 points higher. More details at srnnews.com.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
We're still dealing with one accident right now. That's on 270 westbound. Your stop and go from 367 to New Halls Ferry, where the left lane remains blocked with that crash. In downtown Alton, 100 southbound has the right lane blocked at 67. That's with flooding. 270 northbound slow, Big Bend to Manchester. Southbound, it's Page to Ladue. And 55 southbound, 64 to the 5544 underpass, you'll see delays. 6440 westbound heavy, Van Deventer to Laclede Station Road still. Traffic is sponsored by Express Services, Inc. You work hard. You know what it takes to succeed. Now it's time to put your experience to work and launch your business. For a limited time, Express Employment Professionals will give you $25,000 to open your franchise. Get to know Express. Visit expressfranchising.com today. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
1380 The Answer. Weather.
Mostly cloudy today, high 66. Partly cloudy as we head into the evening, low tonight 52. Rather cloudy and a little bit warmer for Saturday, high 73. Cloudy and mild Saturday night with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm around, low 60. Sunday, a thick cloud cover and warm with a shower or thunderstorm, high 74. I'm Madison Baggett with your St. Louis Metro forecast on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Rick Pogue here with Arrowhead Building Supply, the region's #1 specialty exterior building supplier. Arrowhead has the widest range of exterior products, from the most economical and commodity items to our highest-end outside elegance collection. If you need a contractor, Arrowhead supplies products to hundreds of the best contractors and builders in the business. Call us for a contractor referral and rest easy. The Arrowhead Cube Home Visualizer tool means you can upload an actual photo of your home and change it with just a touch of your finger. Now you can be 100% confident in your selections before they are installed on your home. Our product showrooms are the largest and most beautiful in the industry. We make it simple to experience a full range of siding, roofing, window, door, deck, and even stone options for your home or business. Check us out at arrowheadbuildingsupply.com or visit an Arrowhead showroom near you today in St. Peters, Missouri, Peebly, Missouri, and Fairview Heights, Illinois. Arrowhead Building Supply. Building supplies for building success.
arrowheadbuildingsupply.com.
You have to decide, am I willing to get in right now? Is the world over? Is the good world over? Is it going to crash?
Miss your chance to ask Del a question during the show? You can connect with Del off the air, too. Go to DelOnTheRadio.com, click on the Twitter link, and ask your question. Hashtag AskDel.
I believe that a good teacher has the skill set to be able to bring people through multiple levels of learning that are completely different from one another.
Have a comment for Del instead? Use hashtag TellDel.
Buying the right window treatments for your home can make a huge difference. Should you use curtains, shades, shutters, or blinds? Get the best recommendation when you call Michael Proctor at Proctor Drapery. Michael has been serving our area since 1974 with the highest quality and value for custom drapery, blinds, shades, and shutters. He's also a top-tier Hunter Douglas priority dealer and your choice for Norman Plantation shutters. Cut down on the risk of error. Contact Michael at ProctorDrapery.com. It's Proctor spelled like doctor.
This hour of Allman in the Morning is brought to you in part by Dr. Anna Smith, the #1 provider of oral sleep appliances in the United States. Learn more at cpapsucks.com.
Hey, don't just listen to Allman in the Morning. See the show at theanswerstl.com. Now, more Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Good morning this morning, everybody. Yes. I know that you thought that George Papadopoulos would be on the air with me because he has his new book out, Deep State Target. How I got caught in the crosshairs of the plot to bring down President Trump. But Maxie's telling me his publicist is saying he's on an airplane right now, which should have landed by now, which is why they made the arrangements for us to talk, but it should have landed by now. But let's just hope that it's not a 737 MAX 8 and it's Ethiopian Airlines. Then we'll have some success perhaps in getting him our way. President Trump's approval rating at 51%, but I want to share with you a relatively, this is a little bit mildly disturbing. I love Tucker Carlson, but for whatever reason, some of us, and I'm not among those yet, Ben Murphy kind of hit on it a little bit, but there are some people really trying to make sure that President Trump doesn't stray too far away from some of the core values that provided the foundation for our votes for him. And we knew him to be a person who was totally up on how it is to create a strong economy. We're already seeing unemployment at all-time lows in pretty much every sector. Pretty much every sector of the country, whether you want to call it a race sector or an economic sector, has improved. Their lives have improved since President Trump took the oath of office. So Tucker Carlson decided he was going to posit a couple of scenarios where is there a possibility President Trump doesn't want to be president in 2020, which would, of course, be a huge bummer. And I don't know whether that's the case or not. But I think that President Trump is good at this. So it's up to him. But here's Tucker Carlson talking about the possibility that he doesn't want to win.
The 2020 presidential campaign is already well underway. On the Democratic side, there are dozens of candidates in the race.
So I'm sorry, but so I don't want to interrupt it before, but he's pointing out that, and the headline here is everyone assumes Trump wants to be reelected. I'm one of those.
More to come. On the Republican side, there's just the incumbent president. Everyone assumes he wants to be reelected. Most presidents do. But what if Donald Trump had decided he's had enough? Too many investigations, too much nastiness, too few upsides. It wouldn't be a crazy conclusion. How'd you like to spend your 70s locked in the White House? So let's say Trump had decided he wants to lose in 2020 and get back to his old life. How would he do that? Let's see. He might start by proposing more than $500 million in Medicare cuts. That's something that nobody outside the libertarian symposia circuit really wants to see. So you do that. Then he'd slash funding for the E-Verify program. That would allow companies to keep hiring illegal alien labor in violation of a key campaign promise. After that, he'd announce we're bringing in even more low-skilled workers. That would push down the wages of the people who voted for him, the most vulnerable group in the country. Finally, he'd release a bunch of drug dealers back onto the streets right in the middle of the worst drug epidemic in history. And he'd continue our pointless military intervention in Syria, which in no way benefits the United States.
You know where he's going with this, right?
United States. If the president did all that, the message would be very clear. He has no idea what he ran on in 2016. He just wants out. But let's say voters still didn't get the message. Maybe they were too distracted by the Russia hoax to notice. At that point, you'd have to do something really extreme to get their attention, something so mindless and counterproductive that there's literally no way you could get reelected after doing it. You'd raise gas taxes. And in fact, the administration is proposing just that. According to news reports, the White House is negotiating with Democrats to hike taxes on gasoline in order to fund, quote, infrastructure. This is one of those ideas that everyone in Washington loves. It costs them nothing. They're too rich to care what gas costs. And by the way, they don't drive. But if you live outside the coastal cities and you're not rich, higher gas prices are a disaster. They hurt you immediately. That's always true. Anything that raises the price of gasoline, whether it's the Green New Deal or some new tax scheme promoted by a fake conservative think tank, crushes the weakest in our society. Normal people hate it. Many of those people voted for Donald Trump the first time.
Now, keep in mind, the gas tax is the one thing that made everybody hit the streets in Paris, by the way. And this was a huge exponential increase in gasoline prices in France. And the citizenry there went crazy. And these people who were the Yellow Jackets were individuals who were working people. They were normal, average, everyday working people who drove around for a living. And they're driving in small cars even. And this was an intolerable move. And Tucker Carlson is exactly right. There are ways you can kind of make people miserable. You can not control immigration, that kind of thing. But oftentimes, even illegal immigration doesn't affect everybody. But let me tell you something. Gas taxes, increasing them, does. We saw it happen here in Missouri, by the way. Republicans shepherded in a gas tax proposal. It was Republicans who did that. And you know what their excuse was? Well, we're the lowest gas tax state in the country, or one of the lowest. And my reply to that is, well, that's good, right? Isn't that good? But instead, among politicians who don't have to care, or as Tucker Carlson points out, who don't even drive, they don't have to care about that kind of stuff. And in fact, they use as an excuse to ruin what we're seeing, they use as an excuse the fact that we're in a good position, which normally most Missourians, most Americans would say, that's really good that we are in the position we're in. That's really good that we are one of the lowest gas tax states in the country. And it's kind of like when you say, yeah, but our income taxes are the lowest in America, therefore we need to increase them. It's like, no. What you just told me is a good thing. But for statists and people of the palace guard guarding the liberal or conservocrat palace, that doesn't matter to them. They actually think that's a reason to just take more money out of your pocket. Tucker Carlson continues.
It's nuts. And it's not like there aren't other smarter, less regressive options if you want to raise money. There are many of them. We could roll back some of those 2017 tax cuts, which went overwhelmingly to high earners and big companies. We could tax the billions in remittances flowing from the United States to the rest of the world. Remember that idea? We could tax carried interest like the income it so obviously is. We should do that anyway, just on principle. We could even tax capital gains like we tax salaries. Mitt Romney might finally pay the same rate as your dentist, and that would be satisfying. And then we could get creative. How about an 80% tax on all lobbying produced by former members of Congress? That's a good one. How about an iPhone tax? Or how about a tough new tax on a $1 trillion Seattle-based internet retailer whose entire business model depends on using public roads to deliver their packages? Companies like that have put an awful lot of American businesses out of work. They clog our roads. Why aren't they paying for infrastructure? We could go on. Plenty of obvious ideas out there. Hiking taxes on working-class rural people is not on the list, unless you secretly want to retire early. In that case, if you're really sick of the job, go with the gas tax.
Yeah. And it's a great point, because what we're seeing right now are politicians who just don't have to care, and they're going back to not caring about middle America or the working class. And that I've seen a trend here with President Trump where the gas tax is a problem, and you notice Tucker Carlson was being facetious there about taxing Amazon and that kind of thing. But why not? If you're going to punish the average guy running a bread delivery company or whatever it happens to be, or a bread company or what have you, who drives a lot and uses fleets of cars. Or for that matter, somebody who has to travel. There are people who in St. Louis who drive 30 miles to work. But if you're going to go after those people, why are you leaving people with, like, Amazon alone? I don't think we want any of that, to tell you the truth. I actually am very suspicious of the whole infrastructure argument anyway. It sounds way too liberal to me. That I believe that if a state has bad bridges, a state ought to repair the bridges, or bad roads, a state ought to repair the roads. But the federal government involved in infrastructure stuff, it just scares me. It sounds a little too WPA-ish. That's all. I mean, it sounds a little too Rooseveltian. But nonetheless, it was a situation where, President Trump has shown a propensity, and Ben Murphy mentioned this earlier, for sometimes buying into swampiness. An increase in the gas tax is a swampy idea. It's a typically Republican Democrat plot where the people who mean nothing to them, and that would be the average working people who've never meant anything to them, really. They've talked about them a lot, but they never actually did anything to help them. They cut trade deals that would undercut and that wound up undercutting American jobs. So that was proof in the pudding they didn't really care. So they always go after the weakest. They always go after the people who they think don't have a voice, or they think don't have a choice. So what I mean is that, President Trump, who else are you going to get? Another swamp rat? Or are you going to stick with Donald Trump? The other thing I've seen Donald Trump do, which I'm very concerned about, is he's bought into this idea of expanding the H-1B visas, these tech visas, expanding the ability for companies through these temp agencies that get boxes of green cards and hand them out to people in India and China to expand this program. and directly compete with other Americans in their jobs. And I know, Bob has called in this show and he claims nobody's doing math. That's not true. We have plenty of people who are learning in the technological field right now who can take these jobs. So, and it's not only President Trump who's bought into this idea. It is Mike Lee, who is a member of the diehard conservatives, the Freedom Caucus up there, who believes this is a good idea. It's a terrible idea. It sends a horrible message to most of America. And how President Trump is able to defend this situation is kind of beyond me. And so keep an eye on it, obviously, but Tucker Carlson's not too far off in warning President Trump that if he does want to get reelected, he's got to worry about suddenly going back to running with the Lost Boys. He's got to worry about being a Pinocchio and kind of going back to, what were those guys called in Pinocchio? Those were the Lost Boys, right, Maxie? Who were those people who were getting Pinocchio to smoke and all that stuff?
They were on Pleasure Island, but I don't know what they were called.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, it was like these goofy characters who, Pinocchio wanted so badly to be a real boy that he'd do anything to become a real boy. And so these guys corrupted him. And I hope President Trump isn't so tired of the vicious continued attacks that he finally kind of goes and, like a boxer when they are getting badly beaten, will go and just kind of hug the end of the ring for a little while. I just hope he doesn't do that with the swamp, because the swamp's waiting for him. See how hard this is, President Trump, to be off the grid as a Republican? Come with us, and we'll help you. Come with us, and we'll teach you the ways. Come back. Come back, says the swamp. Come back in. You got to be careful about that. President Trump's pretty strong. I don't think he's that easily pliable, but you never know. To me, it seems like people out there are waiting. I think the Roy Blunt vote on the situation regarding the declaration of an emergency was an attempt by some people in the swamp to put President Trump on notice that they still kind of control things. And they've been letting President Trump run for a little while, but eventually they're going to try to wrestle that party back. It's happening here locally, and more than you know. And if it's happening on the national level, then President Trump will be in trouble. The only thing that actually is in his favor, if he does want to get reelected, is that nobody's going to vote for any of these people in the Democratic Party at the levels that they're at right now, and the ridiculous that's coming out of their mouths, and with enough votes to beat or win the Electoral College again. Just not going to happen. Take a break. Max on Movies back with his movie review coming up on the Allman in the Morning Show, Common Sense Radio.
More Allman in the Morning coming up on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
Do you consider yourself as the expert in your industry? Do others in the community consider you to be the expert in your line of business? There's an affordable way to position your company as the expert. I'm Lori Vernier, Sales Manager for 1380 AM The Answer and Salem Media St. Louis. Let us help you bring your brand to life. You know your business, and we know how to build an effective and engaging radio show with both on-air and online distribution. Grow your business by enhancing your credibility and branding yourself as the market expert in your field, positioning you above your competitors. Let's work together to help make you the expert St. Louisans turn to for information in your industry. Contact me, Lori Vernier, at theanswerstl.com, and we can discuss bringing your brand to life with your own radio program.
If you love radio as much as we do, then why don't you join us by having your own show? Just go to theanswerstl.com and click Contact Us at the bottom of the page.
This station owned and operated by Salem Media Group.
Hey, ladies and gents, Dr. Anna Smith is my dentist, and I just love her, and I love the fact that she promises so much convenience for those of you out there. And when I talk about TLC, it's dentistry-with-TLC.com. When I talk about TLC, tender loving care can come in the form of convenience for you, and also pain-free dentistry, and also fast braces, and also getting you in within 2 days if you call, or putting $50 in your account if they don't make it. Usually they will. TLC comes in the form of a $19 a month dental plan for those of you without adequate dental insurance or none at all, where there are teeth cleanings and other kinds of things and discounts on work that are embedded into the $19 a month. That's TLC. TLC is being able to do root canals in 10 minutes completely pain-free. TLC is being able to do implants in 15 minutes, again, completely free. Pain-free. And that's the art of the TLC. Yeah, of course, it's always great to have a smile. And of course, it's always great to have a gentle hand dealing with your dentistry needs. But it's really important to you to have convenience and opportunities and painlessness when it comes to the dentist. And that's what Dentistry with TLC offers you. Dentistry-with-TLC.com.
This is Rick Pogue of Arrowhead Building Supply, excited to welcome Jamie Allman back to the St. Louis airwaves. Arrowhead Building Supply is your provider of siding, roofing, windows, doors, decks, and even stone. We have 3 locations around St. Louis, which gives you convenient access to our beautiful state-of-the-art showrooms. The Arrowhead Cube Home Visualizer tool means you can upload an actual photo of your home and change the look with just a touch of your finger. Visit our amazing website today and call us with your next project. Arrowhead Building Supply. Building supplies for building success. ArrowheadBuildingSupply.com.
KXFN St. Louis, K287BY St. Louis.
Critics are raving about the best of enemies. Taraji P. Henson and Sam Rockwell give magnificent performances.
You don't get my way. Well, I'm gonna get in your way.
The Christian Post calls it a perfect portrayal of how love can break through all barriers.
Same God made you, made me.
That serves as a masterful representation of healing and hope.
Don't you forget it.
The Best of Enemies, based on the untold true story. Rated PG-13. May be inappropriate for children under 13. Now playing in theaters.
Ladies and gentlemen, MyPillow. I'm back to tell you about MyPillow, and using the promo code Jamie to get the MyPillow underneath your head or to get the Giza Dream Sheets underneath your body. Here's the deal. These Giza Dream Sheets, 30% off when you use my code Jamie. And you have to either call them or go to mypillow.com/Jamie. That's probably the easiest way to do it. mypillow.com/Jamie. So get on while the getting's good. 30% off these beautiful Giza Dream Sheets offered by the MyPillow guys and Mike Lindell. These sheets are sleeping you comfortably and coolly. And on top of that, maybe the sheets aren't your thing. Maybe you want to get the pillows. How about a 4-pack of pillows? 2 pillows plus the 2 to-go pillows, plus free shipping when you use the promo code Jamie. So check it out on the web, mypillow.com/Jamie.
Dennis Prager, this morning at 11. Now, more Common Sense Radio with Allman in the morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Good morning this morning, everybody. Don't forget, yes, we have the big Jamie Allman, Larry Elder event of the season, May 9th on Thursday, right here at the studios. Tickets are $79 for the VIP. We've added something to the VIP ticket, and that is each ticket holder getting a free copy of Larry's book, A Lot Like Me, A Father and Son's Journey to Reconciliation. It's an awesome book, and he's going to sign it for you. Free drinks, free hors d'oeuvres, a tour of the studio, a handshake with Larry, a free book, an autograph, and everything else, and a ton of fun. That's $79. You can go to theanswerstl.com, and, of course, general admission is $13.80. Max on Movies. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic, sir. How about yourself?
Good. So on Tuesday, you were able to actually preview The Best of Enemies.
That's right. Of course, we've been talking about this movie the last couple of weeks here on the show, and because of that, I was a little nervous to see the movie because, of course, as a film critic, I've got to have honesty in all my reviews, and I thought, what if I don't like this film? And thankfully, I can not only come on your show and review it, but I can give it a positive review.
So, yeah, because, it's amazing to see some of these. Like, usually these movies kind of were off the grid, and they didn't see a big release, but this one this is a real movie. I mean, this is like a real stars and real studios and everything else.
And, something that you said in a couple of your promotions was you can't believe you've never heard this true story. And I kept thinking about that. There are some pretty remarkable things that happen in this movie, especially towards the end. And I thought, well, there's no way that really happened. I'm sure it was dramatic license. So I went to my trusty pal Wikipedia and I was reading about some of the real life interactions. And sure enough, the more unbelievable things in the film actually happened in real life. So once again, truth is stranger than fiction. The movie stars Taraji P. Henson as Ann Atwater, who was a civil rights activist in North Carolina. And as C.P. Ellis, Sam Rockwell, playing a leader of the Ku Klux Klan. And these two, of course, who would never be friends in real life, they agree to co-chair a 2-week community meeting to talk about desegregation in their community. And of course, they're on very, very different sides. And the movie tracks their unlikely understanding of one another and goes further to talk about how they remained lifelong friends. And some of the more woke people that I've spoken to are very angry with this film because they're saying that it's, this film is just trying to solve racism and it's not going to improve anything. This is a true story. This is not some sort of Hollywood, machinations to try to make people feel better. This is an honest-to-God true story about a guy who realized he was in the wrong and that there was no reason to hate somebody just because of the color of their skin. And I'm distressed to see that, again, there are younger people out there, millennials maybe, who are so angry that this movie exists. And to them, I would just say, be quiet and go see it, because this is a true story, and there's nothing that conversation and getting to know somebody, of course, that is the way that we would erase prejudice. I mean, of course it is.
Yeah, well, this whole subject matter was just simply rife for triteness. And so my assumption is, and based on some of the things I've read about it, they avoided those pitfalls. I mean, you're a movie critic. You've seen tons of movies, and so your standards are very high. And so this was kind of built for cliche, triteness, that kind of thing. And
absolutely,
it didn't have that.
It's one of the reasons why I wasn't necessarily looking forward to it, because it seemed like an eat your vegetables type of movie. And I will say that it does have some of its negative qualities. I mean, it spends much more time with Sam Rockwell's character because of his arc, of course, than it does with Taraji P. Henson's character. I would have liked to have learned more about Ann Atwater, but audiences can always do that after they watch the film. And it's more of a kind of a mainstream version of last year's Black Klansman, which was a wonderful true life story as well. That one a lot more artsy. This one a lot more mainstream. You can bring your grandma to go see this one. But yes, I like Best of Enemies, and I'm definitely recommending it.
Are the two, in your research, are the two both still alive?
No.
Okay.
But it does go into that towards the end of the film, how they stayed friends until C.P. Ellis's death. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Great, man. Well, thanks for the review, Max on Movies, Maxie, and thanks for all your great work for the All in the Morning Show. Phil Valencia, thank you as well. Folks, don't forget theanswerstl.com for your tickets to an evening with me and Larry Elder right here. View 17 studios at the Brentwood U Club Tower. Hopefully we'll see you there. Theanswerstl.com. Have a great weekend.